2020 in one word, unbelievable. Mikey Dubz, 124.3 kilometers in 12 hours. Now that's unbelievable. 71 guests interviewed by yours truly. Unbelievable. Over 17,000 views on the live stream. Unbelievable. Over 300,000 raised in 12 hours. Unbelievable. Anonymous donation next day to make it 350,000 raised. Unfreaking believable. Lloydminster, it's simple. You're unbelievable. Welcome to the podcast, folks. Today is a good one, a great one. I got a buddy of mine, Mikey Dubz, sitting across from me here to do some ad reading, and then we'll get in 2 hours of us bantering, which you are
about
all...
good things.
That's right. That's right.
About good things about Mike and Sean.
That's right. Lloyd Region Health Foundation.
On,
God,
man.
I can't even get it out.
What's the website?
LRHF.ca/radiothon. If you still haven't donated your money,
Let's go.
Get it. Let's get it. If you haven't heard, we did our 12-hour live stream, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We raised over $350,000, Mike. That, I think, floored every single person who tuned in that day.
Damn near floored me.
Carly Clausen, Windsor Plywood, builders of the podcast studio table.
That I just beat the hell out of tonight. Just banged my fist on this. I just want to make sure the quality was there, and it was. Shout out Windsor.
For everything wood, these are the guys, whether we're talking about mantles, decks, windows, doors, or sheds. They don't build treadmills, but I guarantee if they did, that thing would hold up.
Carly's creative. We'll get it.
When you want quality wood, stop in and see the group at Windsor Plywood, or just hop on your phone and take a look at their Instagram page, because if you haven't seen what they can do, it's amazing. It's amazing. They tossed $1,000 at Tuesday.
That's sweet, and we love everyone for everything they gave.
Yeah, it didn't need to be $1,000, but Windsor did do the speaking with their pocketbook, tossed $1,000 at the day, and we appreciate that. HSI Group, they are the local oil field burners and combustion experts that can help make sure you have a compliant system working for you.
Brody did text me, said he was going to eat a cheeseburger per kilometer. I don't know if he ever did follow through with that, but hey, Brody, just a heads up, you owe me $620 for that run. $5 a K. HSI came through.
They use technology to give you peace of mind so you can focus on the things that truly matter. They do the security for this building.
And and they're not a burger factory, just a heads up.
They're not a burger.
Just a heads up.
Can you imagine a man trying to eat 124 burgers?
Brody might be the dude.
Clay Smiley, Prophet River. Prophet River is retailers of firearms, optics, accessories serving all of Canada. They specialize in importing firearms from the United States, hard-to-find calibers, rare firearms, special editions. I walked over to Clay Smiley, who's right across from where we recorded, said what was going on, and he tossed out a lucky loony.
Yeah, and it's 124. And plus, I think he provided security for my isolated room I was running in.
That's right. Nobody was messing with us.
No one's messing with us. Not today. Corona.
Jen Gilbert and team over at Cityside Realty, or Coldwell Banker Cityside Realty, they've been in the community for over 40 years, since 1976. They support everything Lloyd. And I was saying to you before we started this, she came on, interviewed, buck a K, and then she texted me like later on the day, and she's like, wow, this is unbelievable, to steal a word of mine from the day. And Cityside upped it, went to $500 donation, and she personally donated $3 a K.
So 372, we coming after you.
Yeah.
Thank you though.
That was
Polite
super.
Come after.
That was super cool. That was cool. That was a cool part of the day.
That's the community, man.
Yeah.
That's the community.
Cityside, Coldwell Banker, Cityside Realty. They know home is truly where awesomeness happens. I think we experienced a little bit of that Tuesday. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 780-875-3343. Now, a couple of quick shout-outs to the man who runs this building, Wade Gartner Management, Lloydminster-based company specializing in all types of rental properties, and he's just the man. He lets me come in here day, noon, night, afternoon, Saturday, morning, Sunday, Monday. It don't matter. The guy's awesome. Shout out to Wade.
I'm going to have to ask him for a room for a treadmill now. We'll get to that.
He'd probably be all over that.
Training room.
And a shout out to, have you seen the billboard?
Oh, of course, yes. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, you were a little sad about the no hat. I actually have a hat up for you at the house, which I didn't bring tonight.
I might need a toque. I might need a toque for the running, but that billboard, damn. Well,
shout out to Reed and Wright and Miss Deanna Wandler, who was also a guest on Tuesday, and I was told she went and donated. I'm sorry, Dan. I don't know what you donated. We're gonna assume it was a huge number, and she's amazing, and she owes a lot of money to the Health Foundation.
Boom, there it is.
Now, if you're heading into any of these businesses, make sure You let them know you heard about them here at the podcast. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show or advertising, visit SeanNewmanPodcast.com, top right corner. Hit the contact button and send me your info. Lots of different options. We want to get you involved here. Now let's get on to that T-Bar 1 tale of the tape. Engineer, DJ, ultramarathon runner. He just finished 124 kilometers in 12 hours on a treadmill to raise money for the local community. He has a mantra of do better, stay lit, and no excuses. He's fucking unbelievable. Mikey Dubz.
Yo, it's the Sean Newman Podcast. I'm Mikey Dubz. I just listened to this dude talk for 12 hours. Now I'm about to sit down and listen to him talk for another 2 hours, face to face. Let's get it.
So IPA is like probably my least favorite beer.
It's because it's so strong.
But I went 45 days without drinking until the night after, or well, the night of the event finishing.
Yeah.
And then I got drunk that night, and then I got drunk last night. So I'm nursing like severe hangover right now because for 45 days you just feel like fantastic, and then you get drunk twice in less than a week span afterwards, and yeah.
I wish my week was like that. So my week was that night I went home and ate an extra large pizza, fell asleep.
The entire thing yourself?
Probably 3/4 of it.
Wow, I didn't think your little body could handle that much pizza.
7,800 calories later, burnt. Yeah, you can eat that pizza. Just crushing. So you got drunk. I crushed carbs. I fell asleep. I woke up.
Is that all you burnt was 7,800 calories?
Yeah. So the thing about that is I didn't. If you watch me on that live stream, nobody picked out a time that I ate something. Some people that watched all day, I actually got this comment quite a bit. They said, "What did you eat, man?"
Bananas.
Fucking bananas, man. I was bananas. I was all around bananas. So I crushed 8 bananas in 12 hours. I ate, I only had 2 sit downs through the whole event. One of them was at lunch when we hit the 6-hour mark. It was my first time I actually sat down, and I chewy timed me 5 minutes. I crushed the vegetarian chicken noodle soup that they brought me, which shout out to Harvest Home for that. So I crushed that really fast, and it was cold by then, so it was perfect. So I could just, boom, get it down. Then I got my ass back on the treadmill, and then I sat down once when Shar saw me like getting all fucking mangled on that treadmill, so she ripped down. And then 8 bananas, just banana. So that's a lot. Some people are surprised they call it bonking, and just grip, rip, fall, hit the vinyl, hit the wall, end the show. Thanks, we hit 80K.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, congrats.
I gotta give a shout out to Shar because I'd never met her before.
Yep. And
when she came dancing into the studio playing "You're Unbelievable," I almost pissed myself laughing. Like that was pretty funny.
So next time you need to do physio, go see Shar, because she's like that all the time. Like that wasn't acting. That's just how she is. Like she came into my room with like needles in hand and suction cups, like to like fix me, and I didn't even know she was coming. Like this, like hey, like dancing. I'm like on the treadmill, like, what are you doing? She goes, your shoulder's screwed up. I can see it on TV. I'm like, oh well, the community's watching. And they're watching enough that they're like, oh dude, this guy, like, he might not make it, so I gotta get down there and just but you try running for, she came at 3, so 8 hours in, right? And then just hits you hard with the dry needling. Like kind of a little bit, not tired really, but just kind of like getting to that point where you're over half, but the finish line's so far away, like still 4 hours of running. So you're kind of like, And then she just is like, okay, just sit down, just starts pinching knots in your back and just needle, pain shooting into my eyeballs. And I'm just like, holy fuck. But literally probably saved that run in all honesty.
What do you think, now that we're past it? Because we did the little short 20-minute segment. What was that? That was like 3 days before? 2.5 days before.
Man, yeah, it's a blur.
It's a little bit of a blur. It's a little bit of a blur. But we were talking about, like the excitement, why we were doing it, that kind of thing. The build up to that day was like, the anticipation was almost killing me. Like I was really excited, nervous. I get the same way before. Anytime I sit across from anyone, there's like just nerves. It's a good thing. It means my head's in it. I say it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a hockey thing, and this is as close to I get to stepping on the ice is stepping in here or doing that. That was a little bit extreme compared to just this. But we talked about you running, and you wouldn't give anybody a total on how far you could go. Well, now you've ran 124.3 has been everywhere. It's going to be a new logo someday, I'm sure. What did you think about the day?
Well, I was I was like you. I was like, so yeah, we'll say it was 3 days because I actually don't remember either. Everything like yourself, I'm blurry, but I think I'm blurry because I'm still depleted, super bad on carbs. But I 3 days before you and me sat down, I remember us having that conversation. I remember saying, and you said the same thing. Wish we could just do it right now. We were both in good condition right at that moment. So it's like, I wish we could just fucking hammer, get the treadmill started, get me some shoes, let's go, right? Because a lot of things can happen in 3 days, right?
Well, especially right now.
Well, that's just it. So that was the one thing you said. You said, you know what? The biggest thing that we have right now is that we have 3 days where neither of us can get sick or injured or something comes up. Right? Because there's so much riding on this. Well, by
the time we had that conversation, I went, if Mike goes down, I've now pre-recorded 26 interviews at the time, where at the end of each interview, as you saw, was a bet, was something, was a shout-out, was like everything I could think of to have a little bit of fun, try and keep it as light as I could, but like to motivate you to keep going, right?
And it did.
And if all of a sudden it ain't Mike in there, I would have had to talk about that all day long, right? Well, as you can see,
it's it's
not Mike out there, but we're having fun anyways, right?
Yeah. No, hold on one second. I was gonna grab something out of my. I brought one other thing. All right, what was the original question here? I got to get my shit straight here. Now I'm ready.
Well, I was thinking, what I wanted to know is what your thoughts of the day were, but let's rewind this just for a second, because in case somebody is tuning in and has no bloody clue why we're talking, on Tuesday, we did a fundraiser for the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation. Thank you. I got
oh, I saw your eyes. I had to think too.
It's been a fun couple of days. Anyway, so the idea was I sit down and talk for 12 hours on a live stream, and Mike was going to run for 12 hours. And then what ended up happening that day was, well, of course, the 12 hours came and went. Mike ran 124.3 kilometers, like I said previously. The big shock, I think, that came to everyone that day was there was a $200,000 goal. I thought it was lofty. I'm going to be very honest. I thought it was lofty. I was like, $200,000 is a lot of money. And I know there's no other event that has pretty much gone on in Lloyd, but I was still going like 200 grand's a lot. And we ended up raising, well, right now I think it's sitting at 354, but shout out to the home hardware team, right? We were both there today, stopped in at the Timber Cafe where proceeds of today were going to this as well. So like, I don't know, so we exceeded the goal by well over 100,000 in the first 12 hours, and it just keeps going up. And the next day you got an anonymous donation of 20,000. The day after that, another 4,000 anonymously. It's like, I think that's what floored everybody.
Yeah,
and it was such a cool, surreal day. So when I go back, that's the overview for anyone who wasn't there, didn't see it, anything like that. You can still go on and see the live stream. It's all sitting there.
You just got to have 12 hours of your life. Just
no
to
kidding,
sit there and
absolutely. You know how many people said they turned it on in their office and just left it for the day, and just when they were.
Man, I heard of businesses doing it at their office and playing it on the speakers all day.
And at schools.
Yeah, I heard about Ashley Makachuk played it for her kids all day, and they were just loving it.
Yeah, they loved the shutout. She texted me in the middle of the show. We talked about it. Now, going back to it, the initial question was, what do you think? Like, we had the lead up. We were all in, the anticipation was killing us. We wanted to do it that day. Then you actually do the event. Now you've ran the 124. You've seen all this. What did you think of the actual day?
Man, it was surreal. So biggest thing going in, isolated myself for 4 days or 3 days as soon as we had that last sit down where we calibrated that treadmill. And I just said, well, there's a lot riding on this. Isolated myself in hard quarantine by myself, kept as healthy as I could, did some stretching, didn't do too much, any running really, just so that I didn't injure myself, and basically tippy-toed around everything I did because the last thing I needed to do is fall down my stairs. And the funny thing was, the morning coming to the event, I threw socks on and have hardwood stairs, and sure enough, what do? I slip on the stair and I kind of cranked down 3 of them, bang, bang, bang. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt like I bruised the bottom of my foot. And I was just like, whatever, this shit's got to go away. We got stuff to do today. not now, not today. And then go into the event, fire up the treadmill, start running, man. And then my biggest thing I tell everyone is, because everyone, obviously the big question is, I can't run on a treadmill for more than a couple minutes, not alone 12 hours. Like, obviously people were stating that all day.
People always sell themselves short. I love that I couldn't run on, well, my oldest brother goes, I couldn't run, what did he say, 6 kilometers in 12 hours? And me and the brothers are laughing at him. Like, you're being absolutely ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
like,
you could crawl. You almost crawl that.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
right? Everybody sells themselves short. What's amazing about what you did was 124.3. But what people didn't get to see all day long, and I talked about it a lot, is so we had like this hallway to your own bathroom, and then it was like all the food was set out in there, and so, there was a little bit of traffic, but not a whole lot. It was kind of secluded from everybody. And you'd come running by, not walk, folks, not look tired, drained, anything. Here he comes like an antelope, skipping along. Hey, shout out to and then down he goes again. Yeah, and I'm like, how? Was that adrenaline?
I think what it was is I was just excited to, you know what, you brought me into this. I was maybe just really excited to like see someone and possibly see you, because I knew how much you were going through at the time, right? You were doing interviews, you've been pre-recording interviews, you'd been busy for weeks on end. So when I left that treadmill, it was like in my heart that I was like, I need to go by. I don't care who Sean's interviewing, because half the time I didn't know any of the individuals that you were interviewing. Like, some of them, I've been watching you live, so I had enough of a reading of them. I knew who they were, right? And I would come clipping by. And my biggest thing in my mind was, you know what, Sean's pumping my tires on those treadmill. I need to come by and say some shit to him. I was like a little kid bladder. It's like every 35 minutes. If someone would have had a stopwatch, been like, oh yeah, here he comes. Like, he's got to be close. He's got to be close. So I would come ripping by, and then I would, say something, because here you are, every interview, hey, say something to Mikey. Say something to Mikey, damn near bring me to tears. And then I'm like, well, I don't got anything real sweet to say to Sean, but if I pop in and just say, love you, man, and then go. Funny thing is, I got, I don't know, maybe like 14 or 15 texts about at the end of the whole day. I was just like, yeah, man, it was so good. Love you, man. And you're like, yeah. All right, bye, Mike. After we had this conversation about how I texted you the night before, and after all that, everyone just laughed because they thought for sure he's going to say it. Nope, doesn't. And I was just laughing because Governor just looked at me and was just like, yeah, he didn't say it. I was like, that motherfucker, he didn't. I thought I could bury it on you when you're weak, vulnerable, drinking
I tell you what, I appreciate that, because I was sitting in, it's not the talking. Everybody thinks it's the talking that's tough for 12 hours. I think I could talk for 12 hours and not have a second thought. Now, making anything interesting or worth listening to for 12 hours, that's a different story.
Yeah.
It's the listening that is extremely difficult, because your brain wants to just like stare off at the wall for a bit, right? And I want every guest to come in there and feel like, I got to remember, for guys like us, you walk in, that could be intimidating. It probably was intimidating. There's 2 people, 3 people on cameras, like
behind shields.
How many people in this room tonight, Mike? Me and you, right?
Yeah,
like,
and we're far away.
That's right. But like in there, you walk in, the door closes, you sit down, and I wanted to make sure that they felt like, just don't worry about those guys over there, right? Michelle's going to wave some things at us, but we're going to have some fun, me and you. And for like 7 hours, that was easy to do. And then hour 8, it got a little tougher. And hour 9, it got a little tougher. And I mean, I think it was Sarah Rurka. I kept thinking she was Lori Rurka, which is her sister I graduated high school with. And I just remember my brain going, that's not right. That's not right. But I can't think clearly anymore. But I want to listen, but I want to engage. I want to make her, and I just couldn't.
And she brought you damn coffee.
Oh, yeah. And sandwiches.
Man, what the fuck? Yo, Sarah, I know she gave me today, but I was, when I saw that coffee, I'm like, ooh, damn, that coffee would be good. And then I'm like, maybe not. My guts might just erupt on this treadmill. But then the best part was, so you know how you were starting to get a little mentally fatigued? And first off, I got to give you props. Listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of people interview. You held the ground all day long. I know this is your podcast and everyone's like, oh yeah, fuck, he's just saying it because he's talking to him. You held your shit together so well. I don't know if and I could also been like really loose-headed at this point, but
the guy ran 124K. It was the greatest thing on. Did you have any other choices? No.
Well, no, I did. I had a ton of choices if I really wanted to like listen to music or anything, right? But I didn't see you. Actually, I don't know if I did. I didn't see you like really disengage anybody, which was really amazing. I thought at some point you would sit back and be like, all right, well, we got Lori or Sarah or whatever. We got a Rurka sister here. She brought me coffee. Tell us something, but one thing I need to touch about the Sarah one is, so I'm running on the treadmill. Sarah rolls in and she comes in with a white shirt on, right? Brings you coffee. You guys talk. She says we're doing the Timber Cafe thing. Everything's cool. Fucking hour and a half later,
she's back on in a black
all
shirt?
Black. And I'm just sitting there running on the treadmill, and nobody's with me in the room. I can't ask someone to look over and be like, hey.
Am I going crazy?
Dude, was she? Who the fuck? Who brought him coffee? Because now it's like, and we have Sarah Rurka again with Home Hardware and Timber Cafe. I'm like, who came the first time? Like, and I don't know, what time did she come at? Hour 10?
Fuck, I can't remember.
So it was at the point where I could have been hallucinating.
Yeah.
That's when I was like,
it was right around, the second time was right around 5 o'clock because she bumped Jill Kelly, and Jill Kelly came on at 6.
Okay.
So it was pretty much right at 5.
So yeah, here I am, probably at a point of like, go bro, right? I'm at the home stretch. At 2 hours, to me, that's a home stretch. Now it's home stretch time. I know it's still quite a bit, but here I'm like, and then she comes on again. I'm like, holy Jesus, am I hallucinating? I better get another banana in me.
Well, I appreciate you saying all that. I think when you're just talking to people and you got a guy over your shoulder running, what I did was not peanuts, but on a grand scheme of things, I didn't put my body through the tortures of running on a treadmill in a room by yourself.
But you know what? At the end of the day, so I may have put physically myself through it, but mentally, the amount of decisions your brain would have had to make in that 12 hours of interviewing is probably, if not in excess of my physical activity. The amount, like every human's only eligible for so many, and I'm not a psychologist, I don't know enough about the brain, but I read lots of books about it to just help.
We all know you're a great reader.
Oh my God. Fucking the worst, man. It takes me like a year and a half to read one book. It's a dry book. So that's, my wife gives me one bit of credit. At least that book's shitty to read. I don't know why you want to read that, Anatomy of the Brain, but all right, it's up to you. But everyone gets so many decisions, right? And once you use up those decisions, you almost kind of turn into marshmallows, right? And everyone knows about Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg and all these guys. They wear the same shit every day because that's one less decision. They don't make at home. That's over useless stuff. They go straight into work and they execute, right? You had to make multiple decisions every 2 to 12 minutes on just back to back for 12 hours. So think about that. Your brain would have been just the little train that just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, but so instead of wearing the same shirt like Zuckerberg and them talk, what I did is I created the same 4 or 5 questions I was going to go down, so that no longer did I have to think about the question asked. What I had to do was engage and listen, because off of a question, as we know, they can say something and you can grab it. So it was active listening built off the same question, unless somebody told me, because that was the toughest part, was on the fly switching up who was about to walk in, because you're like, okay, well, I got to know their name, maybe what they do, like that would be nice, right? So I can actually act like I know what the hell is going on. And as we saw that day, everything freaking went sideways in a great way quick, and people started just popping in that weren't on this pre-schedule that I'm sure people at times from the Health Foundation or Red Bicycle thought I was a little crazy, because I was just like, to me, it was like, here are my notes for the day. Here is my cheat sheet. We do not stray from the Bible. Put it down. And in the first hour, we got guests slotting in. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be garbage for the rest of the day.
I love the paper slide across the desk. And hold on, I got another note. Open it up. Just something else that you have to do. And I'm just like, that shows the authenticity of that show. That's what it was like. Yeah, you had a Bible at the beginning, and then it was off the books. But, back to your 4 questions. So anyone that listens that ever goes, what does it take to be a really good listener, really good interviewer? So, yeah, you had a staple 4 questions, let's say, right? It was, tell us who you are. Tell us something that happened in the community. Just hold on. I want to try to grab all 4 of them, because I listened to your whole 12 hours straight. So it was basically, tell us who you are. Tell us some experience you've had potentially with the hospital. I believe it may have been a little bit more rounded. Give some encouragement to Mike. And then the third one, I just had it. I can't remember. What was the third one?
Well, it was usually something about how COVID's impacted you.
Yes. So the best part was, though, sometimes you only make it to question 2. And the snowball would happen and it would get so big that, those other ones did never come around. You had to squeeze the mic one in every time, just because you were being such a good friend that you were trying to be like, this kid's going to fall off the fucking treadmill if someone doesn't say something.
I guess I just, you say being such a good friend. I just go back to where I was, and I go, this guy is running for 124K. Unbeknownst to me, that's how far you were going to go. I'd thrown out on the round table the 115. I'm glad you surpassed that. Saved my ass. But I went you know all about this. I can't sit here and say I know a whole lot about this. I mean, biking was one thing. I've definitely gone some distances there where you challenge your brain and your mental capacity.
And your ass.
That too. But I just knew at some point you were going to hit the wall. And I wanted to make sure when the wall hit, there was 15 minutes left. And you're like, I only got 15 minutes left. Instead of hour 6, you're at the wall. And so by constantly having anyone who came in there look at the camera and go, listen, Mikey may be delayed, but he's going to hear what you say. So I want you to say things to him. Makes you feel like part of the show. Because one of the things people said is I wanted to see Mike at all times. And we talked about that.
Yeah.
And for people listening, the reason that didn't happen is we walked in. Well, we hadn't talked about that till 12 hours before the show?
The day before, and I didn't even come down. I just texted you, hey, right. Sean, do you think that we can do this?
And so we got it to work on 2 parts of the show, but on the call-ins and any pre-record, it was going to take an immense load of work. And a shout out to Paul Forges, because I thought he did a fantastic job. But you could see him trying to figure out how, with about 15 minutes before we started airing, he was going to do that. And I looked at him and I was just like, don't worry about this. We'll get this round 2 in a year from now. Right now, we got a show to do.
Yeah.
And I can't worry about it whether or not the cameras are coming on in 15 minutes.
Keep that brain power, baby.
That's right. I shout out to the entire team. Paul did an amazing job.
Oh yeah.
Michelle did an amazing job.
Jason running around. Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't have to worry about anything except study my notes. Who do I got coming in next? Bring them in a bit early. We're going to have a BS sesh before we start. I'll make them feel warm, and we'll forget all about that, and then away we go.
Yeah.
And that's all I had to worry about. All you had to worry about was staying on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure, and I'm glad to hear it worked, because in my brain I went, we're going to talk about Mike an awful lot today, because every step as this thing grows, and I knew it would, by the end you're it's man, every kilometer he goes is an extra $200. That's pretty fucking cool. This isn't picking up pennies anymore. FYI, I texted all the NHL guys, threw them in a group text, and they all text back, said, he didn't fucking tell us he was an ultra marathon runner. I was like, oh yeah, did I leave that out? Sorry boys, pay up.
Me and Wade are FaceTiming during the run. I had to mute you for 1 second. I was watching, but I had to mute it. Wade FaceTimes me and he goes, fuck Mike, really? How far do you think you're gonna go? And I was like, I don't know, man. I think I'm at 67 clicks right now. You're at 67 clicks? It's not. When did you start? 7? He goes, so how long has it been? I was like, 6 hours. Or it was just shy of 6 hours. And he goes, God damn, you guys stealing all my money. And I was just like, yeah, you should have won $15 though. And he just like giggling. And then he followed up with me the next day. He was driving to Edmonton, and he just said, how you feeling? And I just said, good.
So that's been one of the big questions.
Yeah.
Is how did you feel at the end of 124.3 kilometers?
Actually, man, this sounds so cowardish of me. I felt really good. Like I actually felt really, so that was Tuesday. Dr. Governor, my doctor basically kind of got me home, checked my like vitals, just make sure, nothing's really weird. Blood pressure, all this other stuff. He super bro, just to make sure, leave this kid. He did a big thing today. Let's make sure he's in good standing when I leave him here. So he checks me out. We're perfectly fine. Crush pizza. And then he goes, 48 hours. You're not doing nothing though. Like you are sitting in this house, keeping warm, have a bath. You're not doing shit. So 48 hours, I sat in the house. I didn't do anything, bored out of my little OCD mind. And then soon as 48 hours hit, I was back on the streets running. And like running, like, so in, after the 48 hours, the way the running world works is the running week starts Monday and it ends Sunday night. So Friday morning, I could be back doing stuff, not just sitting around resting, right? Friday morning went out. As of this morning before at the Timber Cafe, I had hit another 57 clicks I got in outside running. And the first day I went back, Malcolm was just laughing because he saw my post. It was minus 35 out. He goes, Mike, you didn't want to delay it by like, maybe fucking a day. And when it was 0, yeah, I guess in your head, it's that would be no fun. So the picture I posted right after we do this big run is me just looking like a snowman.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everyone just commenting like, what is wrong with you? I said, man, I felt good. Got to do it. Plus, I'm in a run challenge. I ain't going to let my homies beat me. I might have got a 1-up on them on Tuesday, but I got to keep it alive, make it so they can't even touch it. But yeah, so that, I felt good. I felt really good. Usually after these stupid ass runs that are like 20 or 100 clicks or whatever they are, my wife is like, the first thing she does is I have a shower and then she'll like massage my neck out because everyone saw I was having like shoulder issues, grabbing my shoulders, and then that's where Char came. But after these runs, Kenita will roll in and she'll just work my shoulders for like 45 minutes. And it saves my life for like the next day and the day after. But I didn't have her because she's in Saskatoon dealing with the pediatric hospital. So I had to sit there and just man through it. And yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I felt good, dude. You saw me run up the stairs here. Me and Rossi got 16 or something in today and just up the stairs.
It hurts my brain a little bit. Like for people who don't realize, right? Like I think you were guest 105.
Yeah.
I think it was 105. So
what is this one?
13. I've actually done the picture already for it.
I'm so happy. I made it back within 50.
138.
Man, at 105, I would have never guessed two guys that just became friends were going to do this now all of a sudden.
Well, you go back to 105, and I listened to part of it today, right? Like, we're talking about your kind of journey into running, and, for people who don't realize, like, I got to talk to your surgeon on, like,
that was very cool.
Some of the cool guests that came, like, there was a lot of cool guests that I got to do, right? Yeah. If anybody felt the hockey feel of the day, well, I'm a hockey guy, and I got control over not all the guests, right? There was a lot
some of them,
but I got to speak highly for a lot of people in this community that have done a lot of good. But your surgeon was cool, and if you haven't listened to 105, well, Mikey's had knee surgery.
Yep.
And continues to run like a madman.
And then I see Joan roll in and sit down. I was like, well, what the hell? Man, I wish I would have looked at the itinerary, because then I would have laughed and I would have put like a little asterisk beside that one and be like, yo, this is the girl that saved my running career almost, right?
What I was laughing about was, and I can't remember if I say it on air to her, but you the phone dings and I can see that it's you.
Yeah.
Right? And you misspelled something, and I wish I could go back. I probably
we
can
have
go
so
back.
many texts, but yeah, I remember I said, well, you got to remember, Joan came in again at like hour 7 or 8. And I'm texting you while running on the treadmill because I don't want to stop. Like when the unfortunate thing is every time the camera came back to me, I was walking for like 4 minutes just so I could eat or drink something. And then I'm trying to, because at that point we had made it so far, the number was getting so big that I was like, I can't stop running. I got to keep running because every click is more money. So I could be a coward. I could have walked and chilled and took my time as soon as I hit that, 80 clicks, because I would have been like, man, I got 5 hours to hit another 20 clicks. That's peanuts, man. But then I was like, nah, I don't want it. I'm not like that.
So I found the text. This is now when I read it, it doesn't even. But when I read it, it makes complete sense. But when I saw it beeping at me, I saw please come in, please. She fucked my knee, and I read that and I was like, and I'm sure she saw the confused look in my face because I'm like. And then I finally kind of move. I don't love grabbing my phone in the middle, but now I'm like, my brain is thinking about this. So I pull it out and it says, tell her I owe all this to her. Please. She fixed my knee.
Well, that's why when you said it on air, you're like, oh, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I look at it again. I'm like, another moment of pulse check, just on the job.
That was my eyes because I could have swore it said she fucked my knee. And I'm like, what? What?
Yeah.
What? So I had a good chuckle with that because we flipped to somebody and I was telling her and we had a good chuckle.
Yeah.
So, if people don't realize, your story, on getting knee surgery and then continue to do the ultras, go back to 105 and listen to that because you kind of get a good feel for it. But us two, you're absolutely right. That wasn't, 105 wasn't that long ago.
But I would have never guessed that you and me would have been teamed up to do something like this. It would not guess that it was going to happen. It's just that was not in the radar whatsoever.
No, I am. How can you write that?
I don't know.
Honestly, I've been telling people, so they ask about the day, and I've told you this once. Is I think in life, you chase that elusive, perfect day, which you can try and set it up, but usually is never. Your wedding day is you try to make it as perfect as possible, and as you know. Chances are a couple things are going to go wrong because that's, it's impossible to set up a perfect day.
Yep.
But you chase it. And one of them is given probably, I don't know, for people, graduation, maybe getting married, definitely having kids. But that is far from perfect. Fucking believe me. But that day going in, you kind of had the expectation, and people can't see me, but I'm pointing, not horizontally, but, just a slight incline.
Yeah.
And there were so many things that could go wrong. Should have went wrong, right?
Yeah.
We had so much tech on there. I'm like, fuck, we'll be lucky if something doesn't explode, malfunction, battery blows up on us, feed goes down, just anything there. The next one is my brain gets numb at hour 8, and I start forgetting names, and it just starts to lose something or whatever, right? That's 3. Mikey flies off the treadmill at any point, down he goes. Or, hell, the day before one of us tests positive for COVID, comes close in contact with somebody, it doesn't matter, and now part of the event just switches.
Yep. That's what my biggest scare was.
Instead, you run 124, which...
My personal best in 12 hours.
Okay, so there's a personal best.
Yep.
We did 71 guests, I think it was. I think we did 71 guests that day. And when you do the math on that, I'm going to do the math on this.
I love this because during the show, you'd have to do this math, and I could tell your brain was getting a little wore out, and you're like, grab your phone. If you do the math on how many steps it is, I'm like, wonder what he's going to get.
It's essentially 6 guests an hour. Every 10 minutes, somebody new. Every 10 minutes, somebody new.
Yep.
Nonstop for 12 straight hours, which actually doesn't, you go 10 minutes, geez, that isn't that bad. But then splice in 2 phone calls to the radio stations every hour.
Yep.
They had TV crew down, and they're like, "Can somebody do an interview?" And I just try and paint the picture of walking around the corner, and everybody who was supposed to be there for 3 hours to answer a phone or kind of just lend a hand are all stationed, talking on the phone, going, I'd love to, but we don't got time. And I'm like, I got time. And they're yelling at me from in the studio, you don't have time. You got 3.5 minutes and you're back on air. You got to be back here. I'm like, let's roll. Throw it on me, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's
So we had so many things that could have went wrong.
Instead, everything went right that day.
Yeah.
It went beyond right.
It did. It would. And cheers to that. That's the big thing.
And it's almost as perfect a day as you're ever going to get.
I don't know. I think it was someone looking down on us, saying these two maybe more like your drive. I'm idiot for doing this, but they're like they need to because like one, and again you tell people, you say it, you're doing interviews, 6 an hour, a lot of thinking power. Thing people don't understand is every time I would run by to go, if you weren't in your I don't know what they called that, the
studio,
the broadcast
Yeah.
area. If you weren't broadcasting, you weren't just like sitting there feet up like lone time. I'd run by, hear you doing an interview, like I don't have to ask you. It sounds like you're on the radio because you're like, oh, we are this, and like your like excitement's like heavy, and I'm just like, so he literally must have packed his shit up. All right, and we're going to a pre-record for 4 minutes. You must have just got your ass up, walked over, and then you're like on with the GOAT and CKSA or whoever you're on with, and I'm just like, man, like, I don't know if I'd want to do that.
So I was offered to have a lot of that taken off me to kind of like, I don't know, that I like the challenge.
Yeah.
You hopping on and you're like, I'm gonna run 12 hours. I go, oh fuck. Well, I'm going to talk fucking 12 hours. I ain't going to get pulled off. I ain't going to have somebody come in and do 1 or 2 interviews to give me a break. I certainly as hell ain't going to let the radio station not call me because I enjoy that. And it adds to my plate because I want it as full as humanly possible because we're doing everything to the extreme. And at the end of this, we're going to be worn out, but it's going to feel good.
Oh, yeah.
And so I really didn't like even, I teased Brant Wheeler about having to clean, right? He didn't like that. Well,
He did, but he didn't.
He did, but he did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only thing I didn't like about it is I feel like Don Cherry, right? Like I've seen some things where like you got the camera and you're sitting there trying to like act professional. And you look over and then I'm not literally doing nothing. And there's everybody cleaning to make it all look professional. I'm like,
I love how someone called you out. What are you drinking in your cup? I don't actually even have anything in this cup. Just flip it upside down. But it was sitting there so nice all day long.
Well, I was going to drink out of it. But the problem was it was the wrong hand.
Yeah.
It was, since when are coffee cups left-handed?
It was a left-hand coffee cup?
It only had the logo on the one side. So I guess it could be right-handed, and that way you could stare at the logo, but nobody would see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would see it, I guess.
I would see it.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know if that's left-handed or
That's right. I
right-handed.
didn't mean to cut you off. No, everyone's cleaning, doing the shit, and you look good. Shout out to whoever dressed you up.
Cliff Rose.
Yeah, they did good.
I walked into Cliff Rose and I've been trying really, really hard lately to support local. I know everybody talks about it. You could just so easy go on Amazon or whatever and get whatever you want. And I'm trying really hard
There's some shit you can't get local. Like, to be honest, there's some things you're just not going to get local. So that's where Amazon comes in, right? But if you really want to support local, everything's there. Like what Timber Cafe did today, like a local little restaurant. All proceeds.
Shout out to Timber.
Man. I went in there. You know what? The thing, they're like, yo, Mike, you know what? We're part of our deal is we're going to hook you up. I said, no, I'll pay because like
the money's going back.
Yeah. And you know what? Then they're like, fuck it. Well, we'll give you a gift card. So I got a gift card from it. So I'm like, oh, that's super awesome of them. But at the same time, my thing is always like, I want to cash in my chips when I need them. I don't need the cash. I don't need to, I don't need to leave the table yet. So I'll pay for it. And, brought my date, my hot old grandpa with me, Rossi, and treated him to a nice coffee.
He was looking tired, wasn't he?
No, well, man, he just cranked out 16K back to back. I don't think he wanted to. Texted him Saturday night, said, yo, do you want to come to Timber Cafe with me tomorrow? And he's like, yeah, for sure. He goes, are you running by chance? I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to wake up and get like
I'm going to get an easy light 18K
light
and no
50,
big D.
The actual thing was light 15. And then he was like, sweet, I'll meet you at your house. I'm like, oh, okay, he wants to run again. And then we're done running. And then we went to Timber and I treated my date. But then as soon as I was done there, I was just like, you know what? Maybe I should get another Yeti mug. Why not? Because then, you just, I don't know. Back to the local thing is, I'm a huge believer for supporting local. Brain Sport, who hooked me up for that run, nutrition, all the shoes, Hoka, like they're just like, they've become family. They're a local running store out of Saskatoon, the only one in this whole kind of district area for that stuff. But man, the amount of work that like the local facilities or the ownership groups will do to put back in the community. Like me and Brian at Brainsport have this conversation all the time about supporting local sport. Yeah, I can go online and maybe get it for 10% off, or I can find him somewhere else. But the thing is, Brian from Brainsport, and I can talk about him, and I know everyone else does. I just know the numbers a little more. He spends tens of thousands of dollars in the community every fucking year putting on grassroots races. That's not his time. That's actual like hard cash value that he has to sink in to do the race for the community, for the prizes, for this, for that. And that's just once in a while. Man, the other day, he hooked me up because me and him are trying to get like a youth running group together. We're trying to support the Slim Thorpe. They have a running group that they've established, but people there might not have proper running shoes. So then, obviously I caught wind of it, and I went to Brian and said, I think I need some shoes. Fuck, the guy just like, this is local shop, right? He just like, yeah, no, Mike, I got you. Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll get a package. It'll be at your house. This parcel shows up in Purelator, and it's so big I can't carry it. I go, what the fuck is this? Like a couch? And I crack it open. It's all brand new running shoes. Just like, yeah, you know what? Like that's the local humbleness in like these stores, right? So when I see some people doing it like that, it's what Timber did today, I don't want to like leave anyone out, so I don't want to say any more names because there's a lot of my friends own these local companies. I go in there and I try to, fucking everyone knows I love Prairie Lily, man. Terry is my man. I will not buy another coffee bean. I don't even go to fucking Starbucks anymore because I'm like, I need a coffee. Nope. I'm better off. I'll call Terry, drive to his fucking house, and he'll make it in his house, and I'll pay him for it because that's how loyal I am to the local community with that stuff.
I'd like to point out we made an agreement.
No, you get him now.
I get him now?
Yeah, I have to.
You realize I've left him alone because he's been suggested probably 5 fucking times.
Dude, he is.
And every time
so
I gotta explain this.
You need to just have him. I have to let you have it at this point. I'll do my own with him later. But man, this running shit blew up a little bit too fast on me. My podcast has really taken. Man, why do I need to do a podcast when I got yours?
Hey. All I'm saying is
you need some DJs and shit. I got a huge lineup of people. We talked about this. I think I'm just going to start shuffling them through to you. All I want to know is if you're ever like down for the count and you need a filler, I'll host that one. I'll come in.
A round table.
Yeah.
A DJ round table?
Man, yeah, just music. Music and partying.
I was going to say, the supporting local, what people put out on Twitter and Facebook, social media, pick your poison, that when it comes to supporting, like we talk about all the time, I come from the hockey circle. So when it comes to supporting your kid's minor hockey team, who is it? It's a local business, blah, blah, blah. And not to just slide by that because I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But I thought what was extremely impressive about that day was you got to see firsthand all the local companies just to absolutely support the health foundation and what we're doing with the hospital and continuing care and everything. Just like every local business, man, all day long. Yep. It wasn't $20. It was like 1,000. And then it was just like, oh, and there's 5,000 and there's 5,000 and there's 5,000. Right. And I'm like, damn, this is adding up quick.
I know. Quick dick. Whatever.
What did you think of Quick?
Dude, man, you know what I was thinking? I got a lot of friends out of the Regina Moose Jaw area, and they fucking love Quick, right? And so when he came on, I think I got like 3 or 4 texts from that area of the world of people watching me at work run, and then Quick comes on. They're like, man, I love this dude. Like this dude. And then when he said, nah, maybe I'll run, and I'm just like, you know what? maybe this is what next year is, because I tell you the truth, I think I got to pass the torch. What's the point? You know what Mikey did last year? Someone needs to kick his ass. Get someone ready. Tell him, get 2 people ready. Actually, get 2 people ready. You need one on standby, right? Because to line up what, like you mentioned, all stars align.
Could we not have like, well, as we're spitballing here, if it were to stick with running, could it not be like 10 treadmills set up and have like
don't give away my idea. We already talked about this.
But here, I don't think we've talked about what's rattling around in my brain right now. But convince the Quick Dicks of the world, a Wade Redden of the world, some runners of the world
to try to last with you,
to see how far they can go and how much money they can raise, right? Like to have a little bit of fun with it, a celebrity runoff.
What is it called? No, man, people are gonna fucking just cringe. When you golf, you bet on Jeff Rivet gets the most golf bets every year because he's going to win the longest drive. Calcutta. That's it. So you do Calcutta on the treadmill.
Who's gonna get the most?
But you don't know who anyone is. At the time of the Calcutta, you're basing off of body form. Everyone has to put in masked runner. The masked runner. So everyone has a mask on. You don't know who they are. You don't know which one's Mikey Dubz. You don't know which one's Ross Thompson. You don't know who Wade is. You don't know who, Clark is. You don't know any of these. You don't know who Quick is except for he's got a fucking beard down to his belly button. But you don't know who people are, and then you Calcutta them in numbers. And then now we got a good time. And you put us all upstairs at Motion Fitness because you can see everybody, and you just run off. Last man standing. That's what you do. And you're 100%. We do the PlayStation demo where you stand there, and everyone was doing that for TikTok, and they're like saying like, their body, they do that like slow, humble, like jive. And then you kind of say like what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then everyone can like see it beforehand, but no one knows who they are. And then they bet on you. That's fun. See, that's what people need. And that's kind of, that was my driving factor for, hey, do you want to interview? No, I'm going to run. Is people need that laughter. People like, I know for a fact people are at home. So it's funny because I was getting some texts about like what you and I did here. I'd get a text of people being like, yeah, there's one more in that bag.
You brought me an extra.
I did. Yeah, I know. I did. I knew that you would outdrink me. So the one thing that was really interesting is people at first would text me and be like, this is funny to watch. This is actually really funny, Mike, to watch. I'm really proud of you, but this is funny to watch because Sean's like having a good time. He's messing around with guests. It's entertaining. They're so sporadic that it's not boring. It's 10 minutes, bang, 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 get it all out, get the good shit on the table. Let's go, make fun, do this, have, this and that. And then in the top corner, you're running and you're just kind of laughing and, people can't hear me, but they can see me like, pointing and doing all this other shit. Cause I was on work calls. I was on all sorts of shit. And they're like, this is really funny. Hour 1, this is really funny. Hour 4, this is really, this is good on you guys. This is good, fun to watch. Hour 6, oh God, you guys are just something else. This is good time. Hour 7, another couple group of people be like, holy shit, I can't believe you're still running. This is entertaining. Hour 10, something changed. And this like really got to me, and it's really been weird for me for the last few days because I'm not used to this kind of stuff. I like to do shit and then just kind of smoke bomb and get a fuck out of there and, see you later, good things happen, everyone's happy, let's move. But hour 10, people said, the text went from, this is really funny, it went to, man, you can fucking do it. Like the tone went from not, this is funny, this is entertaining, this is a good time, this, this makes my day, haha, a lot of Snapchats, or not Snapchats, I don't do Snapchat, a lot of Instagrams, posts and tags of me, like people, like my one homie, Adam, who owns the optometry clinic in the mall, he wrote a hashtag on it that said, this dude's just built different. That's what his hashtag was. And it was a video of me running, and he's in the optometry clinic, and in the bottom corner of his actual computer is me running. And so I'm assuming when people would come in, he would do their shit, and then while they're like, he's examining their eyes, they're down there. Clark Jury from Progressive Fitness, Chrissy Muschaller from Violet Eyes, like another optometry, like two really good friends also, in Phoenix at the pool, laptop open, watching the shit all day long. Clark's texting me.
Buddies of mine, Brew Man and his brother Colby, drove to Edmonton and back and played it on the stereo the entire time. And at one point, they turned it off and put on music, And Brew goes, what the fuck are we doing? Put the boys back on. I want to see how far they're going. And so back it went on. And they listened to it, said for it was like 5 hours. Yeah. 2.5 there, 2.5 back.
And you know what? Clark from Phoenix texted me throughout the day. I couldn't text anyone back, but I kept my phone there, and it'd come up, I'd read it, and it was that extra little bit of encouragement. But he's like, man, you know, he's one of my homies. We ain't scared to say we love each other. You know, that's how it is. But anyways, our 10-11 hits. And the text of, this is funny, this dude's built different, go Mikey go, yeah, you know, this is entertaining to watch, turned a little bit drastically. It went to, you fucking got it, man. Like, push. And so now it went from, this is fun to watch, to being like, this is a real fucking deal now. You guys, have pretty much almost hit your goal, and now you've surpassed it significantly, to be, you still look fucking strong on that fucking treadmill. Sean sounds super fucking good still talking. And you guys are at 11 hour. So that hits 10 to 11 hours. It changes to, you got this, man. Keep going. To 5 to 10 minutes prior to a full 12-hour completion, the texts even go even more inverse, to people texting me of them crying now watching the home stretch. So it went from, this is funny, entertaining to watch, this is a good time, this made my day, to my family is sitting on the couch crying at the finish line. Like when we were done, people were crying, people were emotional. Like they were, so and you heard it in my voice, I never cry. I never fucking cry. I'm not I'm emotional, and I'm sympathetic and all this other stuff, but it takes a lot for me to like hit a tear. And at the end of there, like all the texts were flooding in the last 15 minutes, and I was fucking pushing so hard, because as soon as Malcolm said, I don't know if Mike understands this, but every fucking kilometer he does is an iPad. And I had a Zoom call going with all the Lloyd runners on the side, right? Like my running family. And I don't know, there's like 10 or 12 of them in there in the Zoom call. I was on mute, but I could hear them faintly. I just turned them down. And they're all talking. And I remember like Brian Stevenson going on and basically saying, what's he, like at 30 minutes left, goes, what's he doing? And then Mackenzie Brown comes on. He goes, he's like pushing. Like the push is on now, right? And literally I took that fucking treadmill and I cranked it up to 14.6 kilometers per hour. After 11 hours of running, fucking slam it. I got energy. What am I saving it for? Let's go. So then I run like almost what would be a half marathon PB time for myself. So in that last hour, I get 14.3 clicks, and that's fucking fast. Like that's really fast. In an hour, 14 kilometers, 14.3 is huge. But it was when Malcolm said every kilometer is an iPad, it hit me so hard that I said, what the fuck would you save your energy for? Like you're going to pack the treadmill up after? Like when you're done this, you better fucking collapse. Like if you didn't go hard enough, right? So I just slammed her down. And then all the texts started flooding, 10 minutes too, just on my phone. I was just sitting there, and it was just, like my family's in tears, and like people I haven't talked to for a long fucking time are sending me these texts. Hey, I don't even know if this is your number still, but man, you have us in tears. And I'm just like running, and I'm just like head down. And you saw it with the last, because you even tried to kill the air, and I was listening. And you're not kill the air, you kill it like, oh, there's 12 hours. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. We just got a note here. Mike's was delayed when he started, and he's not stopping till he hits 12. And that last bit, holy fuck, man, was I pushing. Like I was running a 3:25 minute per kilometer pace. Like Google that. Just Google that when sometime. If you want to try that, just fucking crank your treadmill to 17 kilometers per hour and see how long you can hold it. And I did that after 11 hours and 50 minutes. So for the last 10 minutes, it was head down, let's go. And then that's why people were laughing, because I just bought my Bubba an iPad for Christmas. And I gave it to her. She knew. And then at the end, I said, Bubba wants an iPad. And so Kanita, my wife's like, Bubba got an iPad. What are you talking about? But she didn't hear Malcolm just say 45 minutes ago, everyone he gets, the senior citizens homes, they're going to get an iPad. Like this is like an iPad per click now, right? So then I was like, because that was in my head. Bubba wants an iPad. Not my Bubba. Bubba's want an iPad. They want to see their fucking family, man. Over Christmas. They can't go nowhere. So they need to see their family. So that's all I thought about was, Bubba needs iPad. Bubba needs iPad. Bubba needs iPad. And every time my watch would click at a kilometer, I go, there's another iPad, another iPad, another iPad, another iPad. And I think I got to like 8 when Malcolm said it to when I finished. So I was just like, holy, because someone actually came in. So I guess not Malcolm said it on the air. It was when they came in and told Chewy, yo, like every click he runs is like an iPad right now.
Well, for the people, once again, who don't realize or didn't tune in or didn't see, it was up to $228 every K you ran. And I know more money came in after per click.
Yeah.
But let's go with the $228 at the time. That's some pretty healthy change just sitting on the ground.
For every click I could get in.
That's right.
So that's what I was like, the push is on. I got energy. Let's go.
And I'd like to point out, I'm going to say it on my podcast, that when we first started talking about this, Mike said if it raised $500, he'd be happy. And I was like, yeah, I think we can raise $500. And then that's quickly turned in like, what was it? Like 2 days, 3 days? There was like, I don't know, myself, I was up over $20 a K in the first couple of days. You had like $88 a K in the first couple of days, right?
Yeah.
And then you do the math on that. Just like, if he does 100 kilometers and we're at $100 K, that's 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be something.
I know. And the pressure was on for 100. And then as soon as we went in there, and all of a sudden before I even started, we were like at like 125 or whatever with that 88 on there. That's where the pressure came in for me, right? It was the morning of, I go, I gotta fucking do this now. Like there's a lot of Bubba's rolling iPads depending on my run.
You know what? I said this to Malcolm because when Malcolm did Kurt Price's show, he talked about the elderly, talked a lot about it, right? And if there's one thing you probably recognized in the pre-records, it was all about the hospital and how the hospital's impacted him. And I told Malcolm this before we started the show that I found it very interesting that different people had different what touched them about what we were doing, even in us two when we talk about it, right? It was only it was last September when I had all I didn't. My wife had all the complications at the hospital, and the excellent staff there not only saved her life, but saved my youngest life, or maybe whatever. And I got to sit down with specifically three of them, that raised money in those celebrity golf tournaments once upon a time, and thank them. And all I could think of when we were doing this is like, now somebody who goes to the Lloyd Hospital is going to be impacted the same way I've been impacted. So when the Health Foundation comes and says, you want to do this, there isn't like, no, maybe. It's like, yes, absolutely. Because they've impacted my life in so short a time, it's not even funny. But Malcolm on Kurt Price's show talked all about the elderly. And I thought that was awesome. Because I was like, geez, you think about it, but for some reason my brain, even as you're talking, just goes always back to what happened a year ago. I can't get over that. If I could donate $10 million to the hospital to make it better and give them absolutely what they need, I would.
Yeah. Because
that place has been, wow, I'm in the place I'm at because of the people there, right?
Yep.
And what you're talking about with the what's going on with the old folks' homes or the continuing care. Geez, I don't know what.
You know what? I don't think anyone's really going to pick at it. It is
fair.
It is what it is. People understand.
That touches a lot of people because a lot of people got Bubba sitting there.
Well, my Bubba, and that's something that if anyone knows me, man, my Bubba's like my mom. So it's like, you know what? She knock on this beautiful wood table.
Shout out to Windsor Plywood.
Yeah, shout out, man. Got local support and local, baby. My Bubba means so much to me that I just want to get ahead of the karma train, whether or not it'll help. But you know what? I got to get ahead of it. And I know when she watches, she's going to be sitting there just like, she did watch it. She watched the thing. She doesn't have, I don't know how, I'm not sure how she watched it. Must have got the YouTube link from someone, my mom, my wife. I don't know. Someone hooked her up with something. But she watched it. Because she called me that night. She's like one of the only other people, my wife, my mom, and Bubba. That night I answered calls from just because I had so much going on in my mind still. But she's just like laughing. She goes, Bubba, I did get an iPad. I said, Bubba, you didn't, you missed it. It was for the Bubbas here that need some iPads for their family. And then she goes, that's fine. You're crazy. Like she hates the fucking running. She just hates it. She just thinks I'm just hurting myself every time I run. But she, so I believe in the good karma, prior. My wife works in the medical field. My friends are in the medical field. You know what? Stories from that day, like yourself and everyone else, like that's the shit that drove me to just myself, yourself, everybody. I think to do better. That's kind of my no excuses are always my thing. But my new one is like, do better. No matter what you're doing, just do better. And then someone hooked me up with a quote, and when they said it to me prior to going in, they said, hey, like, you're all big on like kind of that last motivational one-hit wonder, like slammers of a quote, right? Things that just hit me hard, that I don't have to think about hard. And I wrote it down, and I brought that same piece of paper that I wrote it on, because it's a quote that I try to read every day, or whenever things get a little weird, I just look at this, because when they told me that, it's like, I gotta write this down because I don't want to forget this one. So I still have this little crumpled up piece of paper that I carry in my wallet all the time, but it says, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can be achieved. And people, like, this person said it to me because they said, this is you lofty fucking goals, lofty ideas, but you always go for the gusto. Like, so what? I come up a bit short. I tried. So I don't know. I love this little quote. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who it is. Napoleon Hill, I think, is what the person mentioned. I think it's a guy that wrote a book.
You did write a book.
Is it?
We know you're a great book reader.
Book grammar. Like my Facebook post. Now that all before my emotions really set in and my grammar gets even shittier. Oh God. But yeah, anyways, so I don't know. I really, things like that. And that's what I think about, and I know a lot of people talk about the running and, all this stuff, but at the end of the day, Sean, like, you did this, you set this up, you bid on the dumbass idea. So it's your fault. If it would have went wrong, it was your fault. Cause when I said, I got an idea, you're like, yeah.
I love how you passed the buck to me and act like, so I'll pass the buck to Malcolm Radke, because Malcolm was two things. Malcolm was the first. He was the first to ask if, the podcast was going to sell advertising. First person in the hockey dressing room at Noon Hour Hockey. I don't know what that was, a year and a half ago, right? And he brainchild the live stream, right? Walked up to me. I think I said it a couple times on the live stream, but so a year and a week ago, a year and 3 weeks ago, he approached me and said, "Hey, I got this idea. We set up a computer or cameras at the hospital, and you talk to it for 12 hours, you interview some people, and we see if we can raise some money." Well, everybody just heard my story about September and what the hospital did. I'm not going to, done, right? Like, sure. But we had two pre-recorded interviews. One which I did from the parking lot of the hospital on a call to, like, one of the people from the health authority, right? That's one of them. The other one I did from my basement. And I forget who that guy was, but they were two, like, not politicians per se, but health authority people. Yeah. And the rest, we didn't have we had ideas who we were going to interview, but we didn't have a schedule, right? We literally, Andrew Mavridis, the MMA fighter from town, comes to mind, because he was literally walking by, and I'd interviewed him like 2 weeks before. I'm like, "Hey, Andrew." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Get over here." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I need a guest right now." And I'm saying this on live air because I have no breaks, literally no breaks. And so he just walks up, sits down, and we start talking about, like, why he's at the hospital. And, like, that's what that show was a year ago. And anytime the radio station's called, I put on one of the pre-recorded so I could go take that, right? Yeah. That comes from Malcolm Radke. So this year, everything that happened, I'll take some credit, sure. You got to take some lines credit of being the entertainer. Malcolm Radke's got to take some credit for being the guy who brainstormed the idea and brought us all in.
Okay, well then Malcolm gets a big shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it I don't know. I think it was sweet, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. It was just fun. It was just too fun.
Well,
it went way past what we ever anticipated.
Yeah,
which is sweet, because it's not like it's for a bad cause. It's just like you said, things happened. Things were perfect. In the runner's world, running these long runs like this, there's a few things. So first thing is you got to get to the line healthy. That's the big thing, right? If you don't get to the line healthy, Shane Mascaron, Ross, anyone you've ever interviewed, they would say the same thing. Get to the line healthy. Second thing is watch your nutrition throughout it. Shane called me a few times via the run. Like, called me, Mikey, what are you eating? Like, kind of like that, like big brother mentality. It wasn't like, where are you at? How fast are you going? It was, what have you drank? What are you eating? Okay, good. Keep it up. Don't lose sight of that, because you're not going to finish this. So it was kind of funny. He didn't give a shit how far I was. Shane was just like, he knows where my head's at. He knows like the you versus you, all that mental game. So his big thing was, you need to finish this, like, little bro, let's go. So that's the other thing is you got get the line healthy. You want to watch your nutrition, but you also need to like not get injured during the run, right? Tweak an ankle, tweak a knee, tweak your back, tweak your neck, whatever the hell it is. Get the shits. Sorry, but it's obvious. Like, when you run that long, your guts, your lower back, your mobilization's moving so much, right? So there's multiple factors. In order to actually do 12 hours without a blimp of anything, someone was carrying me for that run. Like, I don't know what it was, because my nutrition was borderline shit. Felt good though. Like, it wasn't depleting. I was actually speeding up faster, which is kind of rare to, like, start going into negative splits throughout a 12-hour run. Got there feeling good. My knee tweaked a little bit right at like hour and a half, and the pain came, and then I basically stuck around for 20 minutes. And then when I realized I basically told it to go fuck itself, it just disappeared. So I don't know where it went. So, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's the athlete dream, to be able to like have such a big, everyone that goes to the Stanley Cup Game 7, final game, their biggest thing is play their fucking heart out and don't get hurt, and play like, there's no tomorrow, right? But there's a lot of things that could happen. You take a puck off the ankle, you're not skating anymore. It's evident. It doesn't matter how much of a superhuman you are, you ain't going to be able to skate. McDavid gets blindsided by someone, knocks his head off his shoulders. He's done. He doesn't get the option to be like, oh, I can shake this off and I'll get back out there. So it's the same for every sport. Everything we do in life is that there's a lot of risks. And that day, I don't know, after 12 hours, this is the first thing I said to Chewy. I said, dude, this shit went off without a hitch. Man, this was amazing.
Well, that's it.
We heard one thing fall in the middle. It's kind of funny. And no one knows this, obviously, because I'm by myself in a room, and Chewy he came twice throughout the day, at the beginning and at the end. But at the end, I'm sitting there, and I'm running. All of a sudden, we hear ting. Like, I don't know if I picked up a rock when I was going to the washroom, or if a nut fell out, but I couldn't find the nut after. But evident, like, ting, something fell off the treadmill. And I look over at Chewy, he looks at me, I go, man, we got like only an hour and a half left. I really hope that wasn't like a washer or something. Like, A, it's Carrie's treadmill. I don't want to shout out Pure Revival, but I don't want to wreck this treadmill. But B, Chewy, can you find whatever that was? And he's looking around. We couldn't find anything. So I think it's just a little rock that kind of shot off, hit the wall. But it just made us laugh, because 10 and a half hours, nothing. Then all of a sudden this little ting, and I'm like, yo, what was that? Like, did something just fall off? So, I'm this is my victory beer right now. To everything going.
Well,
flawless.
that was the toughest thing about it in my mind. You go back to when you said you're not a crier, and it was hard not to get caught in the emotion of the last, 4 hours of that day.
Yep.
When we found out we'd made the 200,000, we had 4 hours to go, and you're like, well, what do we do now? Like, I remember everybody going like, well, what do we do now? Like, where do we set the goal? Do we set it for 220? Do we set it for 250? Can we even make that? 300,000? You want to set it 3? And in my brain, I'm like, okay, 300,000. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're going to set it for 300,000. I'm like trying to like mentally draw some energy to keep I assume the people like, oh yeah, 300,000. That totally makes sense. Like, let's go after it. That isn't like it's another $100,000. And like, just the excitement from moment 1, minute 4, minute 3, to just companies donating $5,000 at a pop, just like coming in, bang, bang. They're writing up. Last year, the number would be like 25,600. Next update would be 25,875. But we'd give every person who donated got a shout out for donating. It was probably a more intimate feel than this one ever was, even with the scrolling, because they were coming in so fucking fast that you're just like, I can't, like, who am I supposed to be? And shout out to Michelle from Red Bicycle, who dealt with me all day. She's like, just don't even worry about it. They're like, you're never going to, and I'm like, I'm trying, right? Like, I'm trying to like, oh, holy crap, there's $5,000. Oh, there's $5,000. Oh, that was $1,000. Since when did $1,000 not be a big number? Right? $1,000 is a decent donation.
1,000 anonymous. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. So to me, like, something, you talk about something at 5 o'clock. To me, I felt that at about 3:30, and I just bottled it up. I just like sunk it somewhere in the deep recesses of the mind where I'm like, you're not breaking down right now, man. You got a long time ago.
Yeah.
And when we hit 300,000 on live, like they're shouting out, this got donated, Misty K, and then like 10 seconds after that, Aztec donated the other 4. And I hate to single out 2 companies because you think of how many companies came before them. But it comes screaming to mind because literally me and Brant Wheeler are sitting there talking, having a grand old time. And that happens while you're sitting there going, we're doing the math. Like you say, 294. Holy shit. We are $6,000 away from this. And as soon as I get $6,000 out it's like 30 seconds later and boom, boom, 2 companies have donated it.
Yeah. I know. I was watching, and then Chewy's like, holy shit, man, you guys hit it. And I'm like, yeah, what? And because I'm trying to sprint now at this point, right? Make it like worth someone's time. And he's like, Sean just said you guys hit 300. I'm like, what? And I'm like sitting there trying to watch the scrolling names, and I'm like, holy shit. And, I hear people cheering outside. I'm in this fucking room with a smoke glass window. I can't see nothing. One funny post. How long do you think Randy Noble was there for? She was there answering phones, right?
Yeah.
She had to been there for majority of the day.
What I've been telling people is there was shifts set up. So
Yep.
there was people that were supposed to be there for, call it, 6 hours. Let's say half the day.
Yeah, so she was there.
Who never left.
Yeah, let's say 6 hours. She has a Instagram story, and she goes, this has been my view for 6 hours. And all it is the bottom of a smoke window is the Health Foundation cutout logo on the window.
And you were running?
All you can, no, not even me running. All you can see is my feet on the treadmill. And then she goes like in her Snapchat or sorry, I don't use Snapchat, for fucking Instagram. She zooms in and she just says, this has been my view for the last 6 hours. Just 2 little feet. And I'm just like, oh man, how tedious would that have been?
So for to tie in a little Hillmond, we do, up until this year, it'll be the first year in like 8 years we haven't done it. And hopefully, God willing, in March or something, we'll be able to pull it off. We've done the Dusty Man Memorial Hockey Tournament.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine, Marty Britton, in year 2 of it, I said, like, the first year we were fortunate GSP was fighting, so we put the fights up in the bar. And people want entertainment, right? Like, they want to support, but they want something to keep them, like, interested in, right? Keep their entertainment value. And so Marty Britton put on horse races. Nice. Old horse races on a bar TV.
Yeah.
So you could bet. Beer tickets.
Yeah.
People loved it. And then, as years progressed, it almost got old, right? Like, not really winning any money, whatever. So then we came up with the idea. I can't remember if it's him or me. I'll give credit to Marty because that's probably where it should lie. Is duck races. Rubber duck races. And the first year, this is how archaic it was. We took a children's slide, bolted it to like some shelving like that, like a bookshelf, an old bookshelf, bolted it, built a plywood, what would it be, a 2x8 frame, and then put like a tarp on it, filled it up with water, and had a garden hose and rolled them down it, and the water hose would pushed them.
Yeah.
And we had a line. And we let people bet on that. Okay? It sounds really stupid. Yet that year it raised, I don't know, $5,000. It wasn't a giant number. It was $5,000, whatever. It doesn't matter.
It all counts.
All counts. Till like 4 years later, we had a professionally built duck race course by James Rogers, engineer for the city of Lloyd here. And I was selling, like 2 weeks before, people were buying their ducks pre. Like, just give me 10 and this, and I want, and it took on this life of its own, right? And all I'm saying is, like,
why didn't we do the duck race at the end of this?
It's those stupid little ideas. A guy running on a treadmill for 12 hours, which is
stupid,
but crazy.
Yeah.
There's a sellability factor there, right?
Yeah.
And it is those little ideas that suck everybody in, right? You're going to talk for a live stream for 12 hours straight. And then there's a guy running on a treadmill for 12 hours straight. How does that factor in? I don't know. It should be fun. We're going to donate.
He's going to be in a thumbnail.
We're going to you can donate $1,000 to him, and we'll see where that goes and see how much money it can raise, right? Like,
man, I don't know.
That's something to talk about. It's better than COVID. Certainly better than American politics. Certainly better than everything that's going on right now. Now you got something fun that people are like, this is cool.
And people from the community, like everybody in the community is together, you know. All the people you interviewed, somebody knows them.
100%.
You know. And that's my thing is, yeah, you might have you and me talking, but there's going to be a friend, a family member, a cousin, a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad that's about to get interviewed too. So it brings them even, you know, more in touch with it.
I couldn't get over Corey Cross, Wade Redden, Clark MacArthur, those three in particular, and that's not to forget about a ton of other people. But when I approached them about it,
Hartnell was in that one too, right?
Hartnell was, so was Holtby. Like, yeah. I mean, we had them all. And I should point out, the reason I speak of MacArthur, Redden, and Cross is the emotion they emitted. So all the guys that I texted immediately, yeah, man. Like, as soon as I mentioned what we were doing, they're just like, yeah, which was really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But Corey Cross was very emotional. Wade was very emotional. I mean, obviously with his mother and everything. But MacArthur was just as emotional. And I'm like, these are three guys that have not lived in Lloyd, and probably, man, it's got to be
like 15 or 20.
For Clark, probably 15 years.
He'd
for the other
shortest,
two,
right?
yeah,
like
20 to 25 years.
Yeah.
And like, you could see how much it meant. Tanner Novlin's another one that surprised me, right? It meant a lot for them to be a part of something for the community that did so much for them growing up.
Yeah.
That was a cool experience.
But you know what? They all have family here still too,
True.
right?
True.
You know, like I FaceTime Bart, Wade's brother. Me and Bart are like, you know, we're like family, me and him. And that's how I know Wade is. But I FaceTime Bart, and Bart's like at the gym just sweating with a mask on, and he's just like, Mikey, you still running? He's just so sweating, doing some CrossFit shit, and I'm like, yeah, man. And then we kind of talked. He's like, hey, I gotta do a set. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And then just like, you know, but that's the small community, right? Wade calls in, he does this, and but he's got family here still, like Gordy, his dad.
Yeah.
So that
it was still cool though.
It was.
Maybe it's my own brain just assuming that they're gonna come in. They're going to be all professional, and they're going to donate a little bit of money, but not too much money, and something like that. I just mean that in like this cookie cutter sense that you know, they've been away for so long that it's nice to be asked, but here it is.
I'm going to ask you a question then.
Yeah,
real
fire
quick.
away.
Then out of all, sorry, what did you say you hit? 77, 67?
No, I was told 71 interviews.
We're going to go with 71. Out of 71. Were any of those people not actually part of the Lloydminster community?
Not a part? Jody Carrington.
I was wondering if you...
Rod Peterson.
Yeah.
Quick Dick McDick.
Yep.
Those three.
What's his name?
Then probably a couple of the people from like SHA, that kind of thing.
People were laughing at me because I can't... Ron McLean.
Ron McLean. Absolutely. Yeah.
What's that dude's name that was like with Don Cherry, and I think he was on Rock'em Sock'ems maybe, and everyone's like, you were so stupid, Mike. Like, get your head out of your ass.
So probably 4 or 5, and out of those, Jody Carrington donated $1,000.
Yeah.
Quick Dick McDick donated $10 a K, which is
$1,000.
$1,000. Rod Peterson donated $100, and
Ron did the Lucky Looney.
That's right. And had a great story. Man, he made selling a loony just fucking...
Man,
should have fucking cut that out and just bottled it to everybody.
Man, the Lucky Loony. Everything starts with the Lucky Loony, and I'm just like, God, I'm gonna get 100 of your Lucky Loonies. He should send it loonies, 100 loonies. Yo, that's what he should do. And I want one frame.
So to your question, for sure 4 then were not from the community.
But so those 4 that weren't from the community, so have no affiliation really too much. Some are closer than others to the community, but like even their like emphasis on what we were doing and what was being what was happening that day was huge. Like, and I gotta, I'm a little biased for Jody, obviously, because she's like a sis to me. But man, she came in fucking rockets blazing.
God damn, she
3
was
o'clock.
She was perfect timing,
man.
Because I wasn't fading,
9.
but I needed an energizer. She was a fucking energizer.
See, I just love it. So we make it 3 o'clock, 6, 7, 8 hours in, right? She's 8 hours on the nose. Her interview, live, not pre-recorded, nothing. She's coming in live. First thing she goes, "What's up, bitches?" No swearing at all the whole day. She doesn't make it fucking 4 seconds.
Yeah, but my first question I had written down, I hadn't told anyone, was I showed my wife, and I'm like, you think the Health Foundation is going to give me shit for this? Because my first question was, we need some colorful language on this show. How's Jody doing today? That was my opening line that I wanted to say to her, and she opened with that instead and had us all in stitches. And she was going, is there no swearing on here?
No, first thing is like, is this live or are we just recording? And you're like, no, it's live. Like, everyone's seeing you. She's like, okay. But man, she teared me up. I hit some tears from her interview for sure. Because me and her have we work together, and I support everything she does, and she supports everything obviously I do now. That's just wild. But she just the stuff she said, and coming from her, she's got a lot of like, she impacts people's lives. She texted me first thing in the morning, and she goes, the text from her was simple and direct. She goes, "Mike, today you're changing lives." Thanks at 6:50. Do you want me to cry now for that? Hey, Mike, just so you know, you haven't stepped on the treadmill. Don't fuck it up. B, you're changing lives in like that Jody Carrington like motivational way. And so I was just like, I looked at that. I'm like, yeah, we are. And my wife, she texts me. She goes, you and Sean are going to do some shit today.
Your wife texted me after too.
Did she?
Yeah.
How'd she get your number?
Maybe it was on. It was probably
Instagram. What? Just joking.
It's probably Instagram now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, no. She
sent me a message.
Yeah, she sent me one right in the morning, 6 a.m. Basically says like, I'm going to work. You and Sean are doing shit today. Don't lose focus on the goal. Like, she knows what I need to hear. She's not being like, kind of like, prickish or whatever about it. She knows what my brain needs, right? She's my wife. We've been together for 10 years. I love her to death. So she knows what does it take to keep Mike motivated. He doesn't need the old, you can do it, like Mikey. Like, when it's coming from her, she needs to hit the home run here, right? Like, you and Sean got shit to do today. Do what you do. Don't fucking stop. And I was like, all right, cool. And then so I got that one. And I was like, boom. That was like the last text I looked at. And then Jody's comes through. Mike, you're changing lives today. I'm just like, okay, that's a little bit in the heart. I said, yeah, I know we are, but let me get my ass on the treadmill, right? And she FaceTimed me around noon just to see how I was doing, how it was going, everything good, and she was really excited, and she's all cheery, and she was with her team, and I've become really good friends with her whole entire team, and kind of like part of their family with Dr. J and stuff. But they're all like, yeah, crush it, and a couple funny jokes, and then Kate sign off, see you at 3 o'clock. So I didn't know what to expect when she came on, but I knew she was going to come in like a pistol for sure. And I needed it, right? I think you needed it too. I could see it in your face.
Needed it.
You just did this. And people can't see me. Obviously, we don't have a video. You watch the video, and I haven't watched it because I'm saving Jody's for a day where I'm like kind of down. I just need to hear some shit. But you just sat back and put your hands above your head and just said like, "Holy shit, here we go!" Like you could just hear.
She was by far the most nervous I've been for an interview in a long time.
Well, she's a wild card.
Yeah.
Like you don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, and
she's super, super, and even this is downplaying it. She's so intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not dealing with a comedian.
So that right there is what had it wasn't that's what had me I'm like, I don't want to sound like an idiot with this, because if you sound like an idiot with X can be whoever.
Just a buddy.
That's right. It's not that big a deal. You sound like an idiot with Jody Carrington. You knew listen, I put that out on the radio station, so that was the call before that hour. I said, well, they're like, well, what do you got going on? I'm like, well, I don't know. We got Jody Carrington coming on at 3. That's pretty big news, right?
Yeah.
And so I knew there was going to be a lot of eyes come focused on that one in particular. So that had my nerves. Oh, they were rampant. So when she come on and said that, it's almost like a way of, I do it in a different way. Everybody has their way of maybe making people feel like it's okay. We're going to knock this out of the park. And her way of doing it is so over the top. And you can understand why she's so popular, because we were talking about it. Every time she spoke, I laughed. Paul was listening, like where you're pretty much sitting. He was laughing. And you could hear every person out in the
hallways.
In the hallways all laugh. And then I'd say something, and she'd say 2 words again, and everybody'd laugh again. That's a talent.
I know. And you know what, show she's just amazing. I'm so grateful that she just picked my ass up as like a little brother and just said, hey, you know what? I think we need music at my shows. I said, yeah, we do. And she kind of made mention of it. That's how our conversation went, just like yours and mine. Hey, you want to do this? Yo, I got something better. Like, hey, Mike, you think you could come and play? No, I don't even know if it was DJing. I think it was like play some music or come and like bring an iPad and play some shit. And I said, I think we can do better. I think we can do something fun. And then, the first one we did was an all women's event. And she messaged me before, says, I need an intro. I said, I got you. 15 minutes later, from my like little recording studio I have at home, I send her a video of what I'm DJing, and then she's making fun of me on like the live stream, because that's how it was, right? Like that's how she's seen how it really works for the first time. So Chewy's videotaping me with my phone, and I come up with this funny interlude for her, right? And I build it 15 minutes after. She goes, if we could have like an intro, like she's thinking she wants like a Garth Brooks song, something that just like, ramps up real fast. I'm like, I could do way better than that. 0 to 100. So I come back, have this thing, and she just calls me back like, holy shit. And she alludes to it. I asked him to do something. He came back and said, fuck yeah, what we doing? Let's get it. And that's how you and me went, right?
I don't know why this comes to mind, but wife had me doing Beachbody in the middle of COVID. We go back like 8 months.
I want you to explain what Beachbody is.
I don't know. These online workout videos where there's like a group of people working out and you follow along, right?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I know. This guy's running 124.3km's. I'm talking about Beachbody. Fuck my life. But there's
in your garage or in your basement. That's the real
basement.
Okay.
The reason I'm bringing this up is there's one where there's women probably, if they listen to this, will be like, it's this. I say 21 Day Fix, not 21 Day Fix. It's some
PX90. No, it's
no
not.
shit. But
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a woman who's working out, and then she's got a DJ off to the side, and he's like playing music, and he's got this headphone. And I'm like, if they had Mikey, I made fun of the guy every day we did it. And I'm like, why do they got this Goomba just like doing this? He looks middle-aged. No offense to middle-aged guys. Yeah. He doesn't look like he's that fit. And on top of it, he's not like that into it, and he's not playing that good of music. Now, in fairness to him, they probably only get to play certain things because they're not allowed to play certain things.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all I can think is Mikey Dubz would probably just, if you were on that video with the chick working out and everybody else going, they'd probably be all having a way better time. And I know me sitting at the screen trying to do it, I wouldn't be going, this guy's a freaking idiot. This guy sucks. Like, stop DJing and just
Don't say this because next year when we fucking DJ in the radiothon.
DJ in the radio. That's
in the background while Wade Redden's just crushing miles on a treadmill.
How sweet would it be?
Quick dick.
Can you imagine if the next radiothon? No, we're not calling radiothon anymore. Like, I want that word thrown out. It's a live stream.
Yep, I'll agree. I like that.
The live stream next year when it happens. Can you imagine if on treadmills we had an actual ultra marathon runner? I think that would be
Grab like a couple.
Sure, but then you had Wade Redden, and then maybe you had. Well, Quick Dick McDick would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But maybe
a couple locals.
Maybe Jodie Carrington could start it up.
Man,
right?
she crushed it. Like if you follow her on Instagram, she's always, you know what, I got I won't lie. Me and my wife got her a Christmas present. Obviously, I might have a few hookups, but we got her some new kicks for her treadmill running because it was painful watching her shoes that she was in all the time. But you know what? Maybe this is the brainstorm, and hopefully people like respond and give you some feedback on, you know, on your platforms when this is released. I think tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah. It's a short turnaround. You know who I get to interview tomorrow?
No, I don't want to know. You won't tell me. Are you allowed to? Is this your Wednesday one? Are you gonna tell us on air right now?
Sure.
Well, you better not, because I thought it's a secret.
Well, it is and it isn't, right? Like,
no, I texted you and you were like, nope. So you better, you know what? I don't even want you to tell me. I want to wait till Wednesday.
You don't want me to tell you?
No, I'm going to wait till Wednesday.
You don't want me, the listeners are just hanging on. Who is it?
Have you told anybody?
Yes. I told everybody after the radiothon.
Okay, well then
because I was tired.
Did you tell them on live? Like,
no.
Well, maybe don't do it then.
No, we were sitting in the room drinking a scotch.
Yeah.
And they looked over and said, so who's coming up on the podcast? And I looked over and said, do you really want to know? And they're like, sure.
If it's not Wayne Gretzky, I don't want to know.
It's not Wayne Gretzky.
Okay, well then we're done. Just joking. I don't want people to know because I think it's way sweeter. The anticipation. Again, Sean, what you're doing with your podcast in this downtime it's huge. And you know what? I'm going to speak on my own personal thoughts on your podcast. Is you've progressed so much over 130 plus episodes now. I've listened to you from day one. You know, was it in your basement? Is that where it was? No, it was in a dungeon somewhere. It was like in like an old bank hall basement.
I just snorted on air. That's awesome.
We've had this discussion in our last one.
It was in the
downstairs
basement
creaky.
of. Shout out to Ken Rutherford. He's the guy who hooked it up. But
yeah.
Ken used to rent the basement of a house south of Rectech. But there was a guy living upstairs. It was out, you know, kind of in the boonies.
I don't even know where Rectech. Oh,
on the west side.
Okay.
Anyways, it was out. Like, it was turned an old storage room in the basement of a house that had mouse shit sitting in the corner and redid it to look something not this good, but still decent.
Yeah.
But think about it. I took Corey Cross there. I took Wade Redden there. I took all these guys there.
I know. And
they walked down and you could see the look, like, I'm sure that went through, where the hell am I?
What the fuck?
What am I doing? And then I'm walking in this room and they'd be like, oh, I kind of get it. And then we get talking and they'd have a grand old time and they'd leave with all smiles. But it's progressed. Yeah.
It has. And like, I don't know. It's sweet. But so where I was going with this is, so you start off, and in times like this is why I don't want you to tell who the Wednesday, December 23rd guest is. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? People need something like this right now.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Not even Merry. Yeah. It's not even that. But like, you know, regulations keep coming out. Like, fuck, you know what my Christmas consists of? Me and my wife this year. That is it. How, you know, shitty is that? Yes, we abide by all the rules. We do lots. You see me, I wear masks everywhere.
We've had this discussion plenty.
Exactly.
Me and you differ on our opinions on it.
Yeah.
But I respect you for your opinions.
I just follow it, right? And that's just how it goes. And Kenita has to the work she's in.
Yeah.
But you know what? Leave it till Wednesday, man. Because if you tell me now, I know. But Wednesday morning when I wake up at 4 a.m. to go running, even though I'm on days off, I go on and I go, Sean's new podcast, and I look and I go, cool. And I download it, I stretch, I put it on, and I run. It gives me something to look for. If you tell me now, then I'm like, cool. And
you know what, listeners? If he would have asked, I would have said. It's.
I for sure you would have. You were gonna tell me. I saw it. You're like, I don't fucking tell you. No matter how you warm my heart with whatever you're gonna say. Until now, when I told you, people depend on the surprise. They need it, right? The world's full of shitty surprises.
Well, let's put it this way: it isn't Wayne Gretzky. Someday it's gonna be Wayne Gretzky. Before my time on this earth is done, Wayne will sit across from me, and I look forward to that day.
And Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Both.
And Denzel Washington.
Dude, who was, and I know we shouldn't have this because it makes me sound even so much worse on your podcast. Who was the dude that played for Detroit with the white Nike skates?
Sergei Fedorov?
Yeah, is it him?
No.
Damn.
But I'm going to tell you something. If I was to ever get a Detroit Red Wing, and I'm pointing, people can't see this, there's my idol.
Steve or Gordy?
Well, I should point out both of them, right?
I was going to say they're both. Even I know those two.
Gordy's no longer with, but
yeah.
Man, let's just put it this way. If I could get Gordie Howe tomorrow, I would run across this bloody country to get to Gordie Howe. That'd be epic. But Stevie Y, oh man, it isn't Stevie Y, because when I get Stevie Y, I won't be able to hide that. That'll come bursting out of me. And I'll be over the moon. But I'm telling you, for my family, the guy I got coming on December 23rd was a big part of our Christmas mornings.
That's pretty open for the Town of Hillmont. I don't know what that is. I couldn't even guess. I know my pride out of you before I leave. But I don't want people to know. I want people to actually I want them to wake up, because that's the fun. It launches early in the morning. You wake up. Sean Newman's new podcast, if you're an active listener and you follow you, it pops up, new podcast, boom, go, right? So,
who is your favorite guest on the day?
On the Radiothon?
Yeah, on the live stream.
So, I had a feeling we were going to get down this, we were going to talk about this, right? So my thing is I didn't have a favorite. I liked them all. And you got to also remember, I was running, so they started to not blur together. I remember everybody's you'd have to say something about someone's, and then I would clue in on it. I liked everybody. You know what? There wasn't anyone. It's not that it's my favorite, because again, I just said I don't want to. My man Dill. Hey, what do you got to say to Mikey? Dill, this is his response. You come down to Ashley Furniture, bro. I got you. Ask for Dill. I will hook you up. And all I thought of in my head was yo, I need a new chase. I need one. My man Dill. You better believe. I found Dill on Instagram. I sent him a message and said, yo, Dill, I'm coming down and I'm looking for your ass. And we're going to hook. I need a new chase, or whatever they call that, right? And he writes me back, my bro, Dill got you. I'm like, that is it. That is my dude, Dill. I just laughed. Oh my God, did I laugh? He was so just sitting there nonchalant. But he did say something that was kind of really sweet too. Again, I don't know Dill at all. Just a local dude. But you said, what do you think about stuff like that? He goes, this is what legends do. I'm like, oh, those are some powerful. Fuck.
That was some powerful words, wasn't it?
That was a powerful word. And he goes, yeah, only legends step up and do this stuff. And I'm like, man, this guy doesn't know me. This isn't my friend sweet talking me. And then, boom, come down to Ashley Furniture. I got you. I'm like, my man, Dill. But
City Furniture, isn't it?
I don't know. I thought it was Ashley. Who knows?
Sorry, Dill.
Dill. I'll figure it out. All the furniture companies in Lloyd, local ones, we love you all. It was a long day at that point. It caught me off guard. Shit. There was, you know what? The older gentleman you interviewed, and I asked you about this. He goes, what do you say to Mike? It's about time you do something good. And I'm like, man, I don't even know this dude. Who was that guy again? Was it Skip? Yeah, it was. Skip Craig. Yeah, I giggled about that because I'm like, I think it's just one of those things that, your your elderly pass down to the like younger gen. It's about time you get your ass out of bed and do something. And it's like, it's about time you do something. I'm like, yo, Skip, man, I fucking run hard all the time. Maybe that's why I ran so much this week after. It's about time you do something. You fucking right it is. I'm going to get out there.
I don't know if I had a favorite. But
I didn't have a favorite. They were all so awesome.
I had memorable ones because they were all really good, and I agree with you. But I had memorable ones that I was like really excited for. I was excited for Skip. I was really excited for Shep. Shep was, in the first 6 months of the podcast, he was by far nobody even touched Shep. Mm-hmm. Not even remotely close. Everybody knows Shep. Shep's been in the community.
He's a staple.
And it's an end of an era, right? His store closes December 31st.
I know, and we talked about that a little bit ago. Maybe you should tell your viewers, like, the big deal with Shep was this is a time that you can't, maybe was able to run and all stars aligned for the running. This is another star align, right? The store's open. He's been part of the community. Even I know him. And I'm not involved in that side of the world, right, for sports, but, I know him. Everyone knows him. And it's something you'll never, like, the conversation, how everything's going, his store's open currently, because how long has it been open for?
89 is when he opened Shep's.
You know what I mean? So there you go.
31 years.
Yeah.
And he's been in the sporting good business for over 50.
Right? So you're never going to replicate that interview again.
No. And people who listen to this podcast know that I enjoy talking to the people who've lived a life because they have such good perspective. Mm-hmm. It's you can't buy perspective. I mean, like, you can and you can't, but, like, you can't buy the years of that they've seen and the things they've lived through. Like, they've lived through some shit, good and bad. And to be able to sit across from, Shep and hear him talk about the hospital, the old hospital, which, I mean, me and you weren't even alive for, right?
Exactly.
To hear Skip Craig talk about them save his life, right?
Yep.
And you could see how much that meant, obviously. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. Have Brewman on.
That was cool.
Me and Brewy, obviously family friends and best friends with his older brother, and we go way back. But he was my D partner for like 9 straight years. Longest in hockey. You never play with the same guy that many years because you never get to stay on the same team. You're always moving up or moving away or getting this here and there.
Drafted.
Yeah, not this guy.
To allstars.com or whatever it was. All-Star Stats. Man, I still get the fucking emails. I went on there once, had to sign up. I still get the emails from that website. The new hockey stats this week. What?
Unsubscribe from that shit.
Dude, I tried and they fucking keep coming back. They're like Groupon, man.
That entire day, it's hard to put my finger on that entire day as we slowly wind this up. I mean, we're going for 1 hour and 44. I got a big guest tomorrow. That comes out on Wednesday.
Big.
That's right.
So big.
But Mr. Brant Wheeler wanted to know, I'm going to switch a little bit on you.
Yeah.
He wanted to know what motivated you in the end. Was it the money?
No.
The people? Both.
It's the so money doesn't drive me, right? The fact that people were giving is huge. It was people classify me as a forward thinker, drives for results, right? So my thing is the lives we're going to help with the money, obviously, with the resources, with what we're going to get, with what they need, the Bubbas of the world. That shit drives me, right? Helping people, tomorrow is what the drive was. Like that, what? My leg could have fell off and I would have tried to kept going. Like, I think that's why, Shar checked in. Governor came by a few times because they know when I'm in the mindset, like this guy will fucking train wreck and you won't know. He'll keep going, and then when it's over, it's like it's over. Yeah. So the money raising was awesome. You and me had a small goal. So obviously where we were at, where dollar value blew both our minds. You and me were like, 500, 2,500, 5,000, 10,000. Then all of a sudden 350,000. Like, fuck, come on. So it was so far gone at that point that I was like, whatever. It was the lives we were about to impact in our community. I don't know, Sean, if tomorrow I'm going to need something. I don't know if you, my friend, are going to need something. I don't know if the guy that I don't know is going to need something, or the lady is going to need something. So that's where my head was at, is like the karma portion of this. Like, I want to help people, and this is how I can do it, by just abusing myself.
Well, and I say, and I've said this, I don't know, I feel like for a long time, but positivity spreads just as quickly as negativity in my mind.
Yep.
And we choose. We decide. And to that day, and now, because it continues to build, right? We saw it today at the Timber Cafe. It was cool to like spread that much positivity and to be a part of something like that. And when you say you don't know who that'll impact, that's why it was nice or cool or surreal, I don't know the word, to sit across from guys like MacArthur, Holtby, Hartnell, who their money they raised off their golf tournaments went to the equipment that saved my kid's life and got my wife surgery. And and I'm like, hopefully someday some guy or some girl gets to use or experience something that this money goes, and they can, and then forward it on and forward it on and forward it on and pay it forward.
Yep, pay it forward.
Because it's, man, what's going on right now is driving me fucking insane. Like I almost had a mild stress attack yesterday. Well, listen, there's a guy who gets arrested in Calgary for skating on a pond.
Yeah.
Now, I have multiple thoughts about this. Have you seen the video?
No. I'm trying to stay off social media. I've been overwhelmed here lately.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. So essentially what happens is two women cops are telling him he needs to leave a public pond, like Bud Miller, except in Calgary. And he's going, why? Why do I need to do that? Sir, you need to leave. And it just escalates and escalates to the point where it goes fucking sideways. Like they're on top of him, handcuffing him, and hauling a guy off for skating on a pond. And I have multiple thoughts about it. Like, obviously, one is like, holy shit. Like, that's where we're at in 2020, right? Yeah. Like, you're arresting a guy for playing pond hockey. That's what that is. But I also go, if the guy just, like, either side had understood, like, do you really think the cops want to enforce that? No. But they're coming down, and if they would have just said, listen, I understand you don't like it. We don't, I'm not saying
we don't like it.
Like they could have just said, like, listen, we in better times we won't have to do this. But you're putting it extremely tough of mind because our government is telling us this is what we got to do, right?
Yeah.
And so I went down this, like, God, it stressed me out because I'm just, like, so fucking mad yesterday. Like, I mean, I had to take a nap to get it off my brain, right? Wife comes around, Mel's like, well, what's the matter? And I'm like, I don't know.
This guy got arrested for skating on a pond. I need to have a nap.
Think about that.
Well, I don't even. Yeah, there's 200 angles to come at that story,
and all of them are fucked up.
I know,
right? Like, even if you're like, no, he was being ignorant and an asshole. He should have just went off. The police were in the right. It's like, well, maybe, but couldn't they have just been like, listen, man? Couldn't they have just taken a step back and said, we understand. We understand everybody's frustration. We don't want to be here. We want to be out busting people who are selling drugs to kids and murdering people and stuff. But this is where it's at. Can you just please get off? And I don't know if that would have worked. Maybe it wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But it just kept escalating to the point, and I'm, oh, man. And what was so moving to me going back and tying it to Tuesday was for one day, people got to go and tune into something that was doing so much good.
There was only good.
Only good.
No negative, all positive.
That's right.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it's very, very much needed.
I don't even know if there was one negative person there. I didn't see any because I didn't see anyone. But every time I came out, people would cheer for me. Keep going. Run, take a pee, come back. Yeah. And then boop, 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 back in there.
No, it was...
So, long story short, wasn't the money obviously is huge because that'll drive the results here, but it's the forward thinking of the people in the community and outside the community that are going to need some of this stuff. And for you and me to like be part of that and like devote 12 hours of my life for that, like that's like, sorry, I should stop swearing, but it really was nothing, right? It was nothing for me to
At the 2-hour mark, he's apologizing for swearing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think that's my 2021 goal.
What would Jody Carrington say about that? I don't think she'd give two shits.
You fucking crazy.
Pretty much.
Exactly. So no, yeah, it was the people that drove me. It was the people that were going to need this, not today, not tomorrow, but in the future.
Okay, well, here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to wind it down because I don't want to keep you here the rest of our night. We're going to do the Crude Master Final Five.
I love it. I love this.
Okay, so five quick questions, short as long as we want to go, okay?
Okay.
Now,
quick questions, but can be as long as we want. All right, got this.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of like, what did he just say there?
2 IPAs. Look at them.
If you could star in the remake of a running movie.
Oh, my.
Do you got a movie? Do you even watch running movies?
So, the first one, Forrest Gump. Everyone just goes, Forrest Gump.
Mine's Prefontaine.
Oh, man. Mine's Forrest Gump.
But, hey, you want to be Tom Hanks?
Everyone would want to be Tom Hanks. Who doesn't want to talk to? Man, in that room, I felt like I was Tom Hanks talking to a volleyball. Because no one was there for a long time. Just running, talking.
You should have got a Wilson in there.
Maybe that's the trick. So, anyways, you know what, Tom? That movie's sick. So I would, star in it, like as kind of don't look like Tom Hanks, look more like Brad Pitt. I get it, but so Brad Pitt running around, but like the fact that he goes through the army and the war and running a shrimp ship or whatever the hell it was called. I haven't watched it. I'm fucking going and watch that movie tonight. That's what I'm doing. Next question.
That wasn't even on my list.
What was yours?
Oh, Prefontaine is my favorite.
What else?
Unbroken. Then there's Race.
Oh, Unbroken's the new one on Netflix. I fell asleep like last 2 nights ago.
No, Unbroken is. Well, yeah. It is.
War. He was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Fell asleep. It's not because it was bad. It's just I fell asleep.
It's a depressing fucking movie.
Is it? Is it good?
Well, it's good, but he's. So the running portion of it is like the beginning, right?
It's just like the flashbacks.
And then it just keeps getting worse for the guy, right? He goes through Japanese.
I'm going to have to watch it. Don't wreck it.
Okay.
I'm about 25 minutes in. I fell asleep. Man, and that's at 8:30 at night. So, oh my God, my life.
Tomorrow the phone rings.
Yep.
Whichever podcast, late show you want to go on, they're willing to go. Who are you walking into?
Oh, shit. This is usually an easy one. I'm going to screw this up. Late show. I'd probably do a show because I like to be like involved. I like, Ellen had some hardship. I would love to play Ellen's Game of Games. I think me and her would get along quite well, like quite well. But I would love to do car karaoke with Cohen or whatever his name is.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that would be fun. I think that's just a good time, that car karaoke. But you know what? Fuck it. I gotta go Ellen. And it's, me and Jody modeled what we're trying to do off of Ellen and Twitch. And it's Jody and Mike. Same idea. Twitch is kind of her Fallout guy. Like if anything happens, just air Twitch. Play music, air Twitch, and you come up with something. You're on the fly, dude. So that's what me and Jody have been trying to like. That's kind of the business strategy behind it. So I'll go Ellen because Game of Games, you can't go wrong with Game of Games.
How many kilometers do you ever want to run in one stretch?
Oh, man, this is easy. It's got to be 200 plus.
So that's no breaks. You want to do 200 plus.
What do you consider a break?
Like,
can I sit down and have something to eat?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Like in one race time.
So to me, a break is you aren't like going home, going to sleep.
And then coming
back rested the next day, and you do that for 3 weeks. And I mean, that's impressive in itself. I'm saying you go do a race where it is an ungodly amount, where you maybe sleep in your clothes, whatever it is.
So I alluded to a gentleman named Shane Mascaron a few times through here. And if anyone doesn't know Shane, he deals with some mental stuff. He's just wild in his head. I love the dude. He is crazy. He's so supportive, but he has done some shit that I like idolize of him, right? And he did Moab, right? And you guys talked about it.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that one just to be like, to get in the realm of where Shane's at, right? Shane's done a lot of crazy shit. I'd like to try that one so that me and Shane could talk about that one. I know someone that did that, right? That one is gruesome, man. Like there's no fucking fun about that race at all. 2 days, go, shitty, night, day, hot, cold, up mountains, fuck it. But I don't know. That's probably where I'd go. Is that 2 to 250 for sure.
I'd written this here as a question, but yeah, fuck it. The dark place. So when you run, and I don't know when it hits. I don't know if it's at 50K. Maybe it changes. What do you learn about yourself in those when you push yourself like beyond the? For me, if I ran probably a marathon, I would think a marathon would probably do it to me.
Yep.
It would teach you something about yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what this 12-hour on a treadmill taught you about yourself.
Actually, it taught me a few things, and it's kind of, I had a conversation with one of my good friends, my graphic designer for Peace of Love, last night. We actually had this conversation. So what it taught me was, going forward in life, I need to do things that do better. I need to stop anything that is I'm not going to actually go for or not achieve or even try, like these dreams. I got to let the dreams go. I got to go for the things the goals I'm going to try to reach, right? So dreams are one thing, achieving goals are another for me, right? So this race taught me 2021, if I'm not going to be fully invested in it, I'm not doing it. Just cut it off the table right now. Don't sign up. Don't even say sure. Just say, unfortunately, I can't do it in my head to the people, however it comes. But 2021, I need to make some moves and do some shit that betters everything around me. And I have a list, Sean, at my house of like 10 of the top fucking things I want to do in life. And they're lofty, man. They are.
What's number one?
COVID really spun it, right? So I don't label them as 1 to 10.
What's one of them?
What is one of them? I really want to get Peace of Love going for a better cause. So our whole drive for Peace of Love was to do well with the clothing line so we could build a skate park in the Philippines. That was the original goal, right? And it kind of, excuses came up, busy with work, doing this, doing that, all this other stuff. And it was like that vision, but no bite behind it, right? It had the bark, but didn't have the bite. So 2021, it's like you have to have the bite with the bark. So, you right away, it's since the run, I've been waking up early in the morning, working with homies, with ethical factories in Bangladesh, trying to get the clothing, trying to get this sizes, colorways, palettes, fabric material, designs, you name it. Because I'm like, we're doing it. This is now the time to do it. We got to do it, right? So that's, yay, another thing to add to my plate. But it is what it is. And so there's things like that. I don't know. The list is never ending. I want to help brand Hoka. Hoka has been a huge support of me. I want to help brand Brainsport. Brainsport has jumped on board with me. Like, those are just some of my goals. How to do that. It's just, and those are like, they don't seem really sweet goals, but they're like for most, but to me, there's meaning there. Brian at Brainsport, he reached out and said, this kid runs, he's good at running. He loves running. He's got a positive attitude about this shit. We need to invest in him, through encouragement, some nutrition, whatever he did, but he set me up with everybody. So, now I got 3 sponsors that are like big sponsors. Get along with these guys really well. So my payback to Brainsport is like, let's help Brainsport. They're doing really good. Let's do better. Let's always do better. There's always something, right? Help Jody. I want to help Jody push her message across to the people that need it. So those are some of those kind of bigger goals that they're not like a personal goal, but there's okay, sit here and brainstorm. How the fuck are we going to do better on these? they're doing really good already. So that's the challenge. They're all doing really good. So how do we take it? How do I provide something that helps them get somewhere better, bigger? So I don't know.
Your final one.
Oh God.
I know you don't want this to come to an end. Number 5. We're going to put some good vibe out into the world for next year's live stream.
Yep.
I assume it goes on. I assume it has a similar feel to this year. If you could have one person who is not a runner run and see how far they could do in 12 hours, who would you want?
Are they an athlete?
I'm saying anyone. Who do you want to see as somebody who walks 12 hours, who runs, who makes 50K and raises whatever? It doesn't matter. If we could have somebody just show,
This is going to be cliche, man, but I love them. I really do. I think I might throw it at the old whiteboard of goals. Why would Kevin Hart not try this?
Kevin Hart?
Why wouldn't he? That guy is like me. Throw a good challenge at him, he's in. And he runs already. He's fitness. I know he had some issues with his back, so you have to kind of like play whether or not running's actually, if it's there for him.
Could walk for 12 hours?
Nah, I think his ego is like, I'm fucking running.
Well, we got 360 days to pull that off.
Better start getting on the old email blasts. But I think he'd be cool because you know what? He's funny. He's entertaining. Obviously, he's super popular. So that's the easy part. But, I think he has a big heart to do something like that. I'm sure 1 million people have approached him for something like this, right? So
I don't think 1 million people have approached him to run 12 hours on a treadmill. Not a fucking chance.
Yeah, maybe
not a chance.
But there's a lot of people that probably would do it for sure. But like, if I really had to shoot out there and say, who would I love to see? Who would I love to run beside? Because I think it'd be entertaining for the laughter, the whining, the good times, the whole 9 yards. I think Kev would do it.
Listen, that's why you put it out to the universe, because I can't sit here and, to me, right now, as we sit here.
Who would you say?
Well, no, I'm going to say this. To me, as we sit here, I go, wow, that's a lofty goal. I go,
we've hit it.
I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm saying that. If you look at 2020, at the beginning of 2020, and I'm going to speak hockey, which you always laugh, but Paul Bissonnette, who we talked about last time you were on, he was guest number 2 of 2020, and where it's gone from there to here,
huge.
I would never have. I don't think I thought it was possible at times, right? It's a dangerous thing to self-doubt yourself. But I just, under a year to knock off some of the people that have even come from Lloyd, Keith Morrison from Lloyd. Like, I mean, that took a lot of bloody effort, but eventually it happened, and that's pretty cool. So you say Kevin Hart, I go, shit, maybe.
There's a lot of cool people out there, so don't get me wrong if I didn't say someone. I would love to just see some of our vet runners from Lloyd,
100%.
bang it out. But if I had to shoot real lofty,
Kevin Hart, why not?
Why not?
Right? Like, I go, you ask who would I take? I'm always...
Who would you interview with if you could? And don't say, you can't be Joe Rogan.
If I could interview somebody like tomorrow?
For the live stream next year. Nope. For the live stream next year, if you had a co-host. You had a co-host. They weren't the host. They were the co-host. I know this isn't your top five.
Oh, shit.
Who's your co-host? See, it's tough. There's so many people. I'd love to say Justin Bieber, saddle him up on a treadmill. Let's roll, Biebs. But, I think Kevin Hart's more realistic when it actually comes to those lofty goals because he is all about fitness, He's got the fitness line, sponsored by Nike. I think this is some shit that he might not turn down. So I think it's actually more achievable. Justin Bieber's not into that kind of stuff, so it would be just another throwaway. This is something that might catch his eye and go, maybe, this is kind of funny. So you gotta like, I can't just, I'd love to see Elon Musk run with me on a treadmill. It's like, he's not into that.
Yeah.
Maybe he is, I don't know, but so I went lofty with purpose. So who you co-hosting can't be Joe Rogan though. Not you co-hosting. You are the host. They are your co-host.
Well, see, then it has to be somebody.
No, anyone.
Now I understand how hard these questions are sometimes when
Yeah.
the guest looks at you. I'm like, come on, you can give me somebody.
It's a tough one, man. Co-hosting or just hosting with you, just split host. We're gonna have to cut some airtime out of this just real quick so it doesn't sound like Sean thinking. He's thinking hard. 2 IPAs deep. He's thinking. This is tough.
It is tough.
Don Cherry.
No.
Well,
Don Cherry'd be fun, right? And he'd be the right guy to not have to take the bulk of the work, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to sit here and say Ron McClain would be perfect, but the
Yeah.
problem is Ron likes to. He's a guy who leads, right? Like he's the
focal point.
the setup man.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he loves doing. So to have him riding shotgun wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
So who's your shotgun?
Well, then it's a comedian, right? Like I think it's somebody who's funny because I will say this over and over again. When you were on here and did the 20-minute, what made me laugh was, or actually when we did the 5-minute preamble like a week before the event, you said I want it to be funny, and I remember being like, I can't guarantee you it's going to be funny. Like I'm not a comedian. I'm far from it. So guys that are funny, you know, like Kevin Hart would be great.
Oh shit! Now Kevin, yo, Kev,
you don't even have to run.
I'm shooting you an email. You got to run and co-host same time, bro. We got to double up for you.
Like,
it's tough. Because you got to find not just loftiness. You got to find that purpose of that question to apply to what you want to do.
Like Will Ferrell, he would come in and sit, and he would play probably Ron Burgundy the entire time, and I could probably throw off Ron Burgundy for 12 hours.
Yeah,
right. Like that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be. Your guests though wouldn't know what the fuck just happened.
They wouldn't.
They'd walk in.
Ron, you got any questions?
That's how. Hey, what's your name and what has our local healthcare done for you? Nice, Ron. You got any questions? And just a curveball. Here it is. But yeah, man. No, it was fun, Sean. I owe so much to you for this. Helping. Kind of encourage the dumb shit. The idea of the run. Just added. But at the end of the day, man, you did super fucking amazing. My last couple swears before 2021 closed out. You did amazing. I think, the amount of texts I got that people were saying Sean crushed it, people asking for your number that don't know you. My wife, obviously, for just sneaking a DM in there. You got to have a word with her when I get home. Just joking. She was just blown away by everything, too. My mom even was just like, Sean crushed it. She doesn't know you. Everyone I talked to, it was just, big day, huge for the community. I'd love to say you and I did a big part of that, but at the end of the day, it's the whole community came together, and this is what was so amazing. We all came together, arms linked, masks on, and we did some shit for our community, and it's still happening. And I know we keep saying Timber Cafe, but it's just because it's happened today.
Yeah, we're both there today.
Yeah, and a lot of people were, right? A lot of people were there. They had that little dumbass sign with my face on it, like our stupid running logo. Jesus. How far did that come from Jason, man? Yeah. He's like, I got an idea. Just holy Jesus. But, man, it was huge. I'm so honored to just have, been part of it in any form or way. It's something that's going to ride with me probably for the next probably forever, for the rest of my life. It's just something that I feel really good to be part of.
Well, I get to do the Lloydminster Archives thing, so I get to interview a lot of people, and I always love hearing why they volunteer. I think I've learned why a lot of them volunteer. A lot of them volunteer because if you get the right group, of people you like going to work around to do better things for your community. It never feels like work. It's like a night out.
Yep.
With good people, and you're doing something good. And there's highs that come off of being around good people. There's a high that comes off of doing a good thing. And I encourage people, if they're still listening, to really get involved. And if you get involved with the right people, you can pull off things like this, right? Like you say we, and I know exactly what you mean, but you think of how many people in the behind the scenes, the Randy Noble.
And when I say we, I mean like
I 100%. Team. Paul Forges, Malcolm, and that now I'm starting like Steph, like Brant, right? Like there was
Jason Whiting.
Cody Maz, God love him. I was just texting him. He was in the middle of like running. I can't even remember what it was. Was it
the Parade of Lights or whatever?
No. It was before that. It was like a Christmas concert.
Oh, yeah, right.
A virtual Christmas concert. I'm texting him, and he's like, hey, man, just drive over here. And it's like, I don't know, 9 o'clock one night. He's set up in the freezing cold, running, gives me what we need, go string it out, works, right? Like, all that, you get this group, this kind of like weird group, and we're all kind of weird in our own ways, together, and it's so much fun, and you get to do some good. And I hope we've talked, we didn't bring it up, but there's been a couple people reach out that you inspired on what you did.
Yeah.
And now they're going to do things. And I really hope people volunteer and make our community better. Because, I bring back the Twitter social media thing. It can stress people out, but worry about our bubble. Our bubble right here, you can do a lot of good and make this place a lot better. And that will spread. That will spread further than our bubble because other people will see it. And then they'll take that,
Yeah.
And then you can just see it grow.
Keep the fire, stay lit.
That's right. Stay lit.
Yeah, that's the one thing Jesse Lipscomb said, you know what? We build the fire. Now let everyone come with their sticks and take from the fire and go back to wherever they're from with the fire and light their fires. Like to stay lit. Keep spreading the fire. And I was just like, when he said that, I was just like, man, that's so true. If you do well enough, you build a nice big fire and you're welcoming and you're positive, people come. They light their stick and then they can go and light their fires, right? They keep walking with the light to keep it going. So to shut me up, because I could probably go all night because I'm riding on a high from all this. But my big thing my last thing I want to say in regards to the volunteering, community, local support is if you're ever asked to do something on a committee and you sign up and you want to be part of it, the only thing I personally, Mikey Dubz, asks you to do.
There's like 8 hand taps on the
table.
Fuck,
I'm just tapping this goddamn Windsor plywood table. Just tapping it. So sturdy. The one I was just chopping
wood. Absolutely.
Holy. My biggest thing though is I ask that when you go to do it, don't sign up to be part of the team. Bring something that will do better for that team. Have purpose though, man, because everyone brings something.
I'm laughing because
so
he just winked at me as he said, do better. All right.
You do better. Come to the team, do better. Hey, Mike, 5-minute conversation, do better, 12-hour run. Let's go.
Well, thanks for hopping on, Mike. It's been a fun week.
Hey, Sean, love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too, buddy.
There it is, 2020. I can leave in peace. Thank you, everyone, Lloydminster.
Hey, folks, thanks again for joining us today. If you just stumbled on the show and like what you hear, please click subscribe. Remember, every Monday and Wednesday, a new guest will be sitting down to share their story. The Sean Newman Podcast is available for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you find your podcast fix. Until next time.